That's a good way.
What's up, everybody? I think it's hilarious that the whole time we were up in Minneapolis, you must have been asked like 24 times, do the sound.
I had no idea that fern was going to be my thing. I was going to be fernified all weekend.
That was like your dope.
Right.
It was like your little one-liner.
Oh my gosh. It was like, you start the weekend and I'm like, fern, but by Sunday they're like, hey, Jeff Paige. And I'm like, hee-haw. My voice was gone.
Oh my God. Oh, so many people coming in here. Laura, hello. Oh, hello. I think Facebook user is probably still Rodney. I don't know.
Might be.
Rodney, are you still Facebook user? Are you still going under this?
There's just some other
Doing
Facebook
anonymously.
user.
Kiaria, hello. Jaden sent me a message. Do you want to eat the rest of my chicken biscuit?
Yes.
Uh,
Can you just send that to me? I'll take care.
Sure. Yeah, just put it in the microwave, Jaden. I'll eat it after this whole thing is over. Way to keep it professional, y'all.
Thank you, Kiaria. I'm glad you like it, like the intro. I'm glad.
Yes,
We're
Julie,
glad.
Patricia, Dave, Tanya. Yeah, we're all holding up pretty good. Dana Dane in the house. Trish, what's going on? Yeah, we're holding up pretty good. It's been it has been a whirlwind week for sure. I know that a lot of people got kind of got a little bit under the weather, and it's just kind of been a little bit of a mess. But we got a lot of really cool stuff. Where we got some really cool videos to show you. We got some really cool photos to show you. So you're not just going to have to look at our pretty faces for the whole entire thing. We've actually got visuals. We have a multimedia presentation for you this evening, and I hope that you guys will tune in for that. Lots of cool stuff going on, and we will talk about all those things. But, of course, the show does not start until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and right now currently is only 7:53, so we're just going to let you guys roll in. And, feel free to ask any questions that you have to ask. Jamie, yes, we are actually back from Minnesota. We are back in the ATL.
Back in the ATL.
Yep. And we're back in Atlanta. And
safe and sound.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people talking about this, making comments around health and whatnot. I was one of the people that, out of many, that got pimp slap while I was there.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
I got pimp slap while I was there, but I hold myself away until I could show a negative test. And then once I was able to do that, then I went out for one night, totally covered up, and then left again. So it was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it's funny because I was testing throughout the weekend just to make sure I was still good, and I passed. Number 2 pencil and everything. Woohoo! I did good.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how.
crazy.
I'll take it. But you never know, because so many people. This is the thing that people need to think about at this point, because there's also the talk about sometimes it takes a few days. So anyone who went home, you travel, you got on the plane, you're home, give it a few days, but test again one more time, because it's still possible. I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow morning. I'm going to do the same thing. I let some days go by. I feel fine, but I let some days go by just in case. If something's building up, I need to know. So I'm still going to take one more test, but I was great all weekend, and I'm glad. I'm glad, because people are getting punched in the face.
Yeah, it was it definitely was not fun. I will absolutely give it that. It was not fun. I could have done without that.
Taken care of, though. You were well taken care of.
Yeah, Yeah, you were giving me stuff and making sure it was all good, and so yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I definitely came out a lot better than some folks that I heard. So it's all good. And so now it's just kind of like it's just a head cold thing. So that's all that I'm working through, and that's pretty much it, man. It's
Yeah.
been
So
good.
any of you guys who got sick, I'm sorry to hear that, and it did happen. So all you can do now is take care of yourself and stay away. It does show a point of something that I was thinking about. I don't know if maybe this I think is a good forum to just talk about it real quick. And that is, the whole thing was people who were vaccinated or people who show a negative test. And this clearly proves that people who are vaccinated can still be sick. So I almost feel like it doesn't make sense to worry about proof of vaccination. You know what I mean? A facility that's doing an event, it should be just a negative test, because you can be vaccinated and still have it, so you can still spread it.
Yeah.
And I think if they change that protocol, that might make it a little better and a little easier, because it's hard to know. We can't know where it came from, but we know a lot of people were affected.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine who said that he had family that went up to New York. And just so you guys know, we're just in a pre-show right now. We're going to get to the show in about 4 minutes, and then we're going to barrel through it. We're going to have a good time talking about all this stuff and maybe giving some of you some shout outs.
Yeah.
But he was telling me that there was, I guess someone in his family went up to New York, and apparently they have COVID-19 testers, like street vendors all up and down the street.
What?
And in order to like go into a restaurant, you have to show them a negative test, like within the past hour. Not like within 72 hours, like literally before you go into a restaurant, you have to have get a swab test taken by that vendor right out there, who will then give you the negative test, and then you can go into the restaurant. And that is like,
wow, that's smart.
I never heard. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is smart, but
it feels inconvenient, but people shouldn't complain about inconvenience. That's a smart thing. They're protecting you. It's like nobody liked two-step verification, but now everybody uses it.
Yeah, I mean, you go into a club and then you can just make out with whoever you want to because you know they're good.
Right. Hey, how you doing? Let me stick my tongue down your throat. I don't know you, but you must be good. You must be good.
I got your swab right here, baby.
I got your swab, baby.
I got your swab. That was not right.
That was horrible, actually. And we'll probably have to talk about it again when we go live, just to bring it up, because swabbing people in the club is nice.
We're already going off the rails, and we haven't even started the show.
Hey, we just came back from the purple world, man. You know we're going to be a little bit tweaked and a little bit off kilter.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about things, and one of the things I wanted to say is that, it was good. It was a fantastic opportunity to meet so many of you. We had a great time obviously we see all the people that we normally see up there, Audrey and Rodney and Maria Taiska and all those folks. It is always great, but it's always so much fun to have people come up that are just like, oh, I love your show. I wouldn't even be here if I hadn't watched the show.
Right.
And that kind of stuff really kind of makes it worthwhile and helps us to,
and I'll say, I really think what you said right there is a strong thing. We had not one or two, like a lot of people actually were not coming or were not sure, and bought their tickets and decided where the park and everything based off of our show. And I think that's a lot of people told us that. No, I don't think they're just making that up just to get brownie points.
No.
And I really appreciated that, just hearing that. Hey, Tracy. I mean, oh yeah, on the lawn. Yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun. We met a lot of people, and now we're getting up close to 8 o'clock. But so I guess we can start talking about. I got to make sure we're like 8 o'clock on the dot. Again, this was a pre-show. I hope you guys enjoyed the pre-show. But now we are going to actually move into the meat of the show, which is because we got a lot to talk about. And again, as I mentioned, including visuals and even video clips as well. Some video clips that we actually took, and then other video clips of other different things like the beautiful collection that were actually, found on news sources and whatever. Just we wanted you guys to be able to experience it, because I imagine there's still a lot of people here who have not been to the celebration and are still watching to kind of get a little bit of a recap, because you guys know that we're going to go do a really decent job at covering the celebration. And you're right, we'll do it.
Well,
So that's what we're going to be doing tonight, and we're going to be talking through it. And I hope you guys enjoy the show, because it's going to be it's a lot of information. So we're going to be barreling through it. Jeff Paige will be watching the chat room and making sure that there's no questions that need to be inserted into places. But we will just kind of go through it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So
and there may be some questions that we're actually on our way to. So also be patient with some of that too. We're going to try to cover everything.
Yeah, Jeff did a lot of live streams. He did a lot of stuff, and I don't know what it is with my Google Pixel 6. Something weird is going on when I'm record audio. It does not handle deep bass, like especially when I'm near a sub. It like gets really distorted and crackly. So I think something is wrong with the phone, because it wasn't always like that. So whenever we were in a live situation, I tended to let Jeff do that heavy lifting. So it's just much better that way for sure. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to be going ahead and breaking into it. As I mentioned, overall, what can I tell you? It was a pretty awesome celebration. You can't argue with it. Overall, it was a big success for Paisley Park. Everybody that was involved in putting this thing together, it was just fantastic. Really was. And want to make sure that we're clear about what we're doing tonight. We're not going to cover each and every scheduled moment, but I did take a lot of notes. As many people said, I saw you writing away over there. That every single celebration, you'll see me doing that. I've never been invited to this celebration as press, and I don't know why, because when I go in, I kind of get into that journalist mode, and it's just pages and pages and pages of notes, and that's what I do. But for whatever reason, I don't know. Hopefully that will be remedied in the future, but for right now, we do what we do.
Yeah, you go full Rain Man. You do. I'm sorry, you do.
Yeah, yeah. If you could see the notes for tonight, you would realize I think it's like 11 pages. I think is what it is.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, and also what we're discussing tonight. To be clear, we will only be discussing the general admission track of this for this recap. On the VIP side of things, we did see that they did provide a lot of extra perks to them that were not mentioned originally when they began selling tickets. Some really cool recording sessions with members of Third Eye Girl and Hannah Welton, Donna Grantis, Joshua Welton. And they also brought their kids. I saw Joshua and the kids were out there at the lawn. That was really, really cool to get an opportunity to see him. So it was very, very cool. But there was so many different things that they did. They also fed them, I guess during lunchtime or during some of the breaks, which a lot of the VIPs that I had talked to, they were like, I didn't even know they were even doing that. So
they didn't feed us.
Yeah. No, they gave us some food trucks. We were able to get some food trucks.
We got food trucks. I had a pretzel.
Yeah. I don't remember the first time that we were out there with the food trucks. I had that massive migraine, so I didn't eat anything for lunch. But anyways, they also had intimate recording sessions with Tom Garneau at the helm. And we'll talk a little bit about Tom and his panel and whatever. So a lot of really fantastic things that panned out to be far more valuable than they made it sound at the beginning for the VIP folks. So again, as far as the meals and things that feeding them was concerned, I just don't recall that being noted. I just don't. It's good selection of panelists this year. Live bands were great as well. So we'll talk about some of that as we cover kind of each day. Positive comments would be, it's always great that we get an opportunity to get together again. And I think that's evident as, many people who hadn't seen each other in years because of the pandemic, were finally able to reunite. They opened the lawn in the front of the Egg building. I think it's always been a storage area. I think it's just kind of always been a storage area.
Yeah. It seemed like it.
Stacey's asking, how many celebrations have I been to? I've been to every single one of them since 2017. So I didn't go to the 2001. I wish that I had, but I did not. But again, it's just a positive opportunity for everybody to get together after not seeing each other for a while. But again, they set up this social lawn, I guess it was, where the egg-shaped building that everybody kind of asked, what was that? And I remember one of the tour guides at one of the previous celebrations and one of the previous tours had said something to the effect that it was originally intended to be some type of like private club, and then it just never ended up panning out. I just don't see how that could have been a club. It's just not that big. I mean, it's a pretty decent sized building, but I guess depending on how it was laid out, it could work.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was anyways, it now it's just basically being used for storage right now.
That's what it looked like.
So they had out on the lawn that's in front of Paisley Park, in front of that egg-shaped building, they had a lot of seating out there, a few food vendors, cornhole setups. I don't know why I didn't take a picture of all that. What am I missing?
I know. I'm the same thing. I'm like, I didn't either. It's like,
yeah, I just didn't take a picture of it. I didn't.
I'm sorry. It's cornhole. I'm just. I'm not gonna take a picture of cornhole setups. It's not a.
I wasn't saying
thing.
just the cornhole setups, just the setup overall. The seating, the cornholes, the ping pong tables. They had 3 ping pong tables.
I have a hard enough time saying cornhole without laughing, so I just
Cornholio. Yeah.
Sad.
So
juvenile.
and yeah, it is. Well, you blame it on Beavis and Butthead, who have a new movie coming out for some reason or another. I don't know why. And anyways, the weather stayed great the entire time, so that was also fantastic. That worked out phenomenally well for Paisley Park. So congratulations on that end for sure. If there were any negatives that we had heard, it was the transportation issue, the schedules that kind of put the VIP people there at 9 o'clock in the morning. They had to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they were there all the way until 1 o'clock in the morning. With general admission didn't have to show up until 11, but still 1 o'clock in the morning. That's still a long time. That's still 13 hours or 14 hours that you're there at Paisley Park, with only a short break that you had to leave, and you were kind of really you're ushered back and forth to take the shuttle, right? And you just had that small break that was from 5:30 to 7:30, but we found out that you could just wait for that 8:30 shuttle for whatever reason. For some reason, we thought that was just a VIP only bus that was coming, but we learned that was not the case. Yeah, but and the shuttles only left from 2 locations, so it left from the host hotels, the Renaissance and the W, but you couldn't get on the W one unless you stayed there. You wouldn't want to anyways, because parking at the W is not free. So that would have been a big mess. But so, and some people who had never been to the celebration before made the mistake of getting a hotel in Chanhassen and staying in Chanhassen by Paisley Park, thinking that would be a good idea. But they soon found out that the only way to get onto the property, according to Paisley Park, was to drive to the host hotel at the Renaissance and get on the shuttle bus. So you had to drive 15, 20 minutes to where the shuttle bus is, to be brought back to where you just were. And then you had to get on the shuttle bus to go back out to Bloomington, and then come back again to Chanhassen in your car. And it was a lot. I just think, I don't remember that. I don't remember this. I can't quite remember how they worked through it last time, but I seem to remember they always had a shuttle waiting in case there was some rogue people that just wanted to leave at a specific time.
Yeah.
It seems like I remember in past celebrations, this was not this overwhelming of an issue. I think what may be better in the future for Paisley Park would be to make arrangements with the city of Chanhassen to allow folks to park across the street over at Lake Ann Park, so that people can walk down the golf cart path underneath the highway through the Riley Creek tunnel, where they have all that graffiti that you guys have seen pictures of that, where you can walk through Riley Creek and then up the. And so if people wanted to do that, they could actually do that. And a lot of people were doing that anyways, but there was this looming sense that if you did it, especially at nighttime. If you did it during the day, it was not that big of a deal because it's not a stretch of the imagination to believe that someone parked their car and they're out walking around the park, or they're watching a baseball game, or they're doing, so that was not that big of a deal. But at nighttime, to leave your car out there, anything past 10 o'clock, you kind of had this weighty feeling like you might get towed.
Am I going to get towed? Right.
Yeah, it's that real kind of weird feeling. So, but I think if they can make that work and set it up with the city of Chanhassen and say, hey, can we have our people park over there if they want to? That's an option that they're allowed to do. With your blessing, we'll print out things that they can put in their windshield so you can know that's what's going on, right. And not tow them. That may kind of ease people were doing it anyways. And we did it too. We didn't do it for the nighttime. We did during the day because that was just, I can't imagine what it would be like to have your car towed when it's a rental car and the nightmare you had to go through. So yeah, it just caused a lot of anxiety to do that. So it was just like, yes, let's not do that. So
yeah, and I think they could have also benefited from having more routes or more often, because the limitation was only between this time and then only between that time and that time, hours later, were anyone even allowed to leave by the shuttle. And I think it would have been better to have just the staggered, like, just shuttles on hand, like every 2 hours or every hour, or just a little bit more frequency. I think that might have made it better. I don't know.
Karen.
Yes. That's funny.
Yeah, but somebody asked, I just saw somebody saying...
I saw something about the egg was supposed to be a restaurant.
Trish says, will you go again next year? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm going to go every year. We are here to support Prince and to maintain his legacy and to make sure that, yes. The answer is yes, we'll certainly go. As long as there's no scheduling conflicts, we'll absolutely, I'll go. That's a ridiculous question.
What kind of question is that? The noise.
And we also heard some alternative commentary. I'll just use air quotes, alternative commentary on some of the agenda items that really didn't meet people's expectations. But it's all good. I'm just going to leave it at that. You can't please everybody all the time. Overall, it was a fantastic show. We had good panelists. There was a couple of hiccups, but for facility that has been on lockdown for the past couple of years and, kind of apprehensively opened it up and kind of committed to do as much as they did. It was pretty phenomenal. So we'll just leave it at that. So we're going to talk about the actual days of the celebration event first. And then after we're done, we'll take a little bit of time maybe to talk about some of the external events that happened. Not really going to get too much into that. Shout out to Under the PG Moon with the Purple Genealogy Group, because when we first got there the very first day, we actually did a live broadcast from that event. That was a lot of fun. Eric Rogers also put on his event at Paisley 5 and Dime over at Glick's. And I thought it was Glukes, but apparently it's pronounced Glick's. And had a lot of real big success with that too. NPG showing up and Liv Warfield showed up, and a bunch of people just kind of dropping in. So I'm glad that some of the external events that happened before the celebration had some good success. Yeah, and we were really glad to be out there for the Purple Genealogy part of the event, like we had committed to do. So
right. It was good too. We enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
Fun. And broadcasting at an event is always fun.
Yeah, so it was a 3-day event for everyone, a 4-day event for the VIP folks that ended at Dakota with the Steels. But again, we can only chat about the general admission track since we weren't part of the VIP mix, but maybe next year. I heard Funkenberry talking last night. He was actually invited as press, and he didn't get to go to any of the VIP things. So that's, even if you come as press, you're not privy to that stuff. I think he was able to sneak into one, but the Third Eye Girl one, but that's because he's really close to the Weldons. So anyways, and of course, if you have any questions, just ask them in the chat area and we will address them as they come in, as much as we're doing. But before we start, this was Jeff Paige's first time in Minneapolis. Congratulations, brother. We'll talk about your... Yeah, man. We'll talk about your feedback with Paisley Park about when we start talking about day 2 when we first arrived, because I really want to hear your reaction on that. But what do you think about Minneapolis as a city from what you saw anyway? So what's your overall feedback?
Okay. Overall, the city of Minneapolis, I actually really like that city. And this is just getting away from the Prince event. Like, obviously, I'm going to enjoy being in the event of everything that's going on. But just driving around and away to other places, not Prince related, just happening to be in places. I thought, okay, I can deal with this. It's not bad. It was cool. I love your version of traffic. I love your version of traffic.
What do you mean by that?
It felt like there were never any cars on the road.
No. Whenever we were driving, we would always look on the other side of the highway. It was always seemed to be packed, but we always seemed to be going in the right direction in order to avoid that. So
yeah, thank you for that.
There you go.
We don't get that here in Atlanta. It's gonna be bad no matter where you're going and when. So yeah. that was cool.
What was I seeing? I saw somebody over here. Yes, yeah. Anyways, there's no traffic. Somebody asked me a question about Marshall Charloff. Oh, yeah, Terry asked me about Marshall Charloff. Yes, Marshall Charloff is a really good friend of mine. I've done many pieces on him before. He was supposed to be doing an event in Minneapolis like sometime today or somewhere around here, but for whatever reason, it dropped off of his schedule, and I was wondering if that event got canceled. I was never able to get an answer on that. So if anybody knows whether or not Marshall's still doing his version of Prince Piano and a Microphone, which is just Marshall and a piano, it really is a phenomenal show, and Marshall is an amazing, talented artist, and he pulls it off amazingly well. So if you get a chance to see Marshall, absolutely do it. He normally is the singer for Purple Experience, but he does his own thing, and it's really, really good.
Yeah. Cool.
So we were going to do a little bit of shout-outs here, but I'm going to hold off on that. We'll shout out as we kind of see you in the chat room, so we're not going to be doing too much of that. So let's talk a little bit about the events itself. I know you guys were enjoying the music in the background. We got to make sure that we're not being kicked off of YouTube for playing music. So just got to be careful. All right, day 1. Well, that's not the first day that we were there. We were there, as I mentioned. We went to the Purple Genealogy party, but I think it was pretty much all that we did that day, isn't it? We didn't do anything else that day, did we?
No, I don't think so. No, and literally we got off the plane, went to the hotel, got changed, and went to the event. There was no play.
There was no playing. Yeah, no playing whatsoever. So, let's go to day 1. You start off where you need to pick up your credentials at the Renaissance Hotel. I'm going to kind of walk you through the day, and we'll kind of do this kind of relatively quick. And when you pick up your credentials, obviously the biggest and most important thing is the badge. The fantastic badge. You get the actually in the corner, which is actually surprising. Actually, in the corner is your actual number. So you have a number there that is you. So this isn't just, which is a little bit different than what they did in previous times, where you could actually switch schedules with somebody. So they kind of locked you into stuff, especially if you were a VIP, which was a little disappointing for some people that got separated and wanted to stay together. What were you going to say?
No, I was saying, to match the badge with your number and your name is an interesting extra step. You just don't see that very often in events. Cool.
Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. And then, of course, we got the schedule. You got the schedule for Friday, and of course you got the schedule for Saturday on either side of the card here. So this is one that we just took a picture of and just kind of kept, which didn't really make a whole bunch of sense, because then they make you lock up your phones in a lot of instances, and then you couldn't see the picture. So you had to try to carry this around. We'll get to that in a second. Then, of course, you got the letter, the welcome letter that just kind of tells you everything. So all this stuff was in this packet that you picked up. And another thing that they actually had was actually the shuttle schedule. So they gave you the shuttle schedule as well, so you were able to see everything that was going on, when the shuttle left during the day, when the shuttle left during the night, all those things. It was all kind of worked out. But one of the things I found interesting was this little document.
Yeah.
This little document called Prince's Minneapolis, which lists all of the things that you probably should see while you're in Minneapolis, complete with a map.
Yeah, look
that
quite familiar.
Kind of, yeah, it's
Look
very kind of similar. Now they did. Now I will say that there was a couple of things that were on here. Mei Ling says, "A little red Corvette's in the house." She said, "Could you VIP park at Paisley?" No, nobody was allowed to park at Paisley Park. We set up an entire website called PrinceCelebration.com that it looks just friggin' like this. It's, well, I mean, the only difference is that we actually use the Prince logo on as one of he said use the points on the map, but it had all the things and descriptions and photos, and you could carry it with you. But
interesting.
yeah, I listen. Let me just be. I'm glad that they did this because not everybody knows about Prince Celebration, and it's good to be able to have a list of things that you can go to see while you're at here. And to be honest, we are not. To be honest, we are not the originators of this.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think there was somebody who actually had done it a long time ago, and he or she created these papers. You know, it's like one of with the 8x12 paper, and it was like tri-folded on top of each other, and they made like a little old school brochure pamphlet or whatever. And they had them they would give them out at Electric Fetus. So they had something very, very similar to that. That already had existed. So we did lift some of the information from there. We added our own, but we also added photos and we also added information. So yes, there was some, yes. Thank you, Jill. I knew that was coming. Debbie D'Angelo did it first. But, so we kind of prettied it up, what she had done. And it kind of like Debbie's version kind of got bootlegged in a way, and it kept every single iteration got worse and worse and harder to read. And so I just took it upon myself to actually create this website. And this is the first time that I actually ever saw Paisley Park do it. But congratulations, I'm glad that they did. Also, when you're at the museum, and we would talk about this in a second, they also gave out this. We'll talk about this. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
No, I wasn't. I'm good.
I want you to talk as often as possible so I can take a sip of water. Because as you guys can tell, I'm not 100%.
Muna. I'm like a 98.6%.
All right. I see what you did there.
You did you?
Yeah, did you? So we get to the Renaissance Hotel. We pick up this packet, and of course, in order to pick up your packet, you got to show your ID and your Vax cards. Even though there were enough external events happening that COVID did find its way into the mix. So there's just nothing that you can do. We did hear some people did actually get sick. Some just had head cold type of stuff. Some people actually did get COVID. But again, there's nothing you can do. I mean, when it hits, it hits. And, I heard some people got sick, including myself, as I mentioned. So did Troy Gua. So did Troy Gua, Funkenberry, a lot of folks. So a lot of folks actually got hit. Linka Paris got sick too. Yeah. But let me be real clear. This should not reflect on the celebration or Paisley Park at all. I mean, so many events happening externally, they just simply just had no control over it. And I felt like they did their due diligence to protect people that were on their property. And, granted, it's not a foolproof way, but showing your vaccinations or your boosters or your negative test or whatever. I agree with you that a negative a vaccination and booster should not be the end all to end all.
Exactly.
Because
I'll stick with that thought process. It only makes sense. It's
negative
great
test
that
makes
someone's
sense.
been vaccinated, but as we all know, and we all saw it this weekend as well, as the nail in the coffin thing. If you may have been vaccinated, you can still get it, which means you can still spread it. So showing a vaccination card is not the correct protocol any longer, at least. So it might have been at one point, but the best protocol is a negative test. And that's what I think. And this whole weekend, I mentioned it earlier in the pre-show, this whole weekend, I tested this throughout the weekend a few different times. I was excited, happy to stay negative, regardless of what was going around me. So I was happy about that. But those of you who traveled and went and are back, give it a few days, but take it one more time because you did travel, and sometimes it takes a few days.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's, again, they did their due diligence, I think, and I think it's up to everybody else's. It's everybody else's responsibility to keep checking yourself and make sure that you're not putting people in danger, and that's why I quarantined myself until I could, make sure I can get a negative test and before I step out again.
Yeah, and you did 3 in a row to prove three negative. It wasn't like take a test and go, I'm just going to go out.
Ooh, it's negative. I'm going.
Right, which is ridiculous too. Just save yourself and save everybody else. You did 3 tests, and I was like, cool. So that's absolutely what it's your responsibility, really. I mean, they're just kind of protecting people from other dumbasses. There's enough of
them. Like, I got my vaccination card made at Kinko's, and
Kinko's.
Oh gosh, come on, dude. Just get it done. Either get it done or take a negative test and just walk in and make sure you're not screwing people up. Anyways, so all that being said, I don't want to spend too much time on the whole COVID thing, but it was a thing. So, anyways, they had this huge, massive block party for the mural unveiling, which was fantastic, by the way. I actually do have a video to show. I can't show this video for some reason. Actually, I might be able to pull it up and then share the screen because I think. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, well.
Hold on.
Go for it.
There's nothing I can do. I'm trying to get to the.
Well.
Hold on. I'm getting it up. I'm pulling it up. Let's go ahead. Talk. Save me.
Save. I was trying, man. You cut me off.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
But know this. The mural was great, and one of my videos on the page, I took a shot of it just for perspective because there was somebody at the base of it and somebody beside it near the door, and I wanted you to see how huge and how tall this thing was. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So this is actually I had to pull this up another way because apparently it's not supported, but this is, for some reason, this video is not moving. Why isn't this video moving? I don't. All right, we'll deal with this in a second. But anyways, it's a massive video. But one of the things that I wanted to show you too is that here's just a still of the mural. As you can see, there was a lot of a lot of the things that are here that they didn't have an opportunity to finish. As you can see around his afro in the lower right hand corner, I just think he ran out of time and was not able to finish some of this stuff. But this is the mural that they had actually done, and so there was a lot of little details. Again, you can see all the white around his afro that they're going to. I'm sure he's going to fill in. That will probably accentuate some of this stuff. And if you do some of the close-ups, you can see like his ring and his finger wasn't completed in the mural. Also, some of the jewelry and stuff. And I'm not. I mean, to be clear, I'm not like nitpicking, but I know that some people did say stuff. So you got an opportunity to see it from a distance. But overall, I mean, the reality of it is that overall, I was very, very happy with the mural. I was glad that Purple Rain wasn't the focus of it, because I think, Prince kind of gets pigeonholed into that Purple Rain era, So I think it's just really, really cool that, it's got the love symbol guitar, and it kind of covers 3 different eras. And it's just got a really, really good feel to it.
It's a great looking mural. It really is.
Yeah, and the band itself was phenomenal. I mean, there was lots of people there. I mean, shame on First. I can't say it enough. I hate to do this, but shame on First Avenue. Really, I really feel like First Avenue should have done something. I don't know. Here's what I think it was. Paisley Park was waiting for a good bit of time to make sure that everything was going to be safe and was going to go the way that they wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. And they really waited to really close to the celebration to announce a celebration. And First Avenue is a club. They have to book their venue.
Right.
They have to lock acts in. And a lot of acts are coming through as part of a tour. and so it's just like a quick stop somewhere, so they can't move it around. It's just
Right.
it's a mess. So I probably understand a little bit why First Avenue was in that position, but the fact that they didn't even entertain tours during the day or do anything to allow people to come in, especially once they realized that this whole thing was going to be unraveling on this day in front of First Avenue.
Right. Right. Or even a small walkthrough. Like, even if they didn't want to
Right.
spend a lot of time with people on tours, because I know that takes resources and it takes effort. And if they've got shows going on, it disrupts, their own plans and their own setup. But just some sort of walkthrough, and people were all over the place. So
Yeah, and Greg says that even Friday's act was canceled, so it was closed.
wow.
That makes no sense. It's like, all right, you
No.
know what? I guarantee you've got DJ Dudley D, you've got Linka Paris, you've got all these, you've got Rashida, you've got all these amazing Prince DJs in the city. Any one of which, and there's more too, any one of which could have easily gone over to First Avenue and done a transmission party. For those of you who don't know, the transmission parties are basically what they normally do. These transmission parties at First Avenue, where all the Prince folks descend on First Avenue, and it is a big dance party, and they've got all kinds of DJ stuff going on, and it's a huge, massive dance party, and it's fantastic, and it makes First Avenue a lot of money. So it was really, really shocking. It was really, really shocking.
Right.
So, anyways, the mural is fantastic.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, did you just mute me? No, you muted yourself.
I muted myself.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm having to do it every now and then if I feel a little tickle in my throat, but it is what it is.
No, I hit a button and music started playing, and I didn't know if it was coming through or not.
Well, okay. So, anyways, the launch party, and then of course, they moved to the W after they had this big black party out there. Go ahead.
Let me say one thing that happened, and this happened a lot, and it was kind of cool. We were over at First Ave taking pictures, and we're walking away. Okay, we're walking away from there, and it's a really cool thing to be minding our business, and some random person say, "Hey, I know you." Chris and I both were like, "Okay." They're like, "Funkatopia, right?" Yeah. This woman was from Germany. Just flew in from Germany for this event and watches our show and was just excited to see us, and so we took, and that was just such a great feeling,
That is always awesome, and we met people. I met people from France. We met people from Germany that all watched the show. Watched people from Australia, that whole group, New Zealand, all that crew with Mark and Lucas and all those guys. I wasn't Mark, but I can't remember where they were from, but I think they were from Poland, I think, because he was making a big deal about when he was leaving Minnesota Music Cafe that he Michaela, thanks. So that they had Polish albums in Minnesota Music Cafe because they have like a little small selection of vinyl at Minnesota. Yeah. And he was like, they had that Poland. They had music from Poland. I had to buy it.
It was great.
It was like, cool.
It was great. And the people, they were nice, and you guys were awesome. And I was
England too. That's right.
England too. I was really happy to have met these people, and just random passerbyers that see us and go, "Hey," it's just a cool feeling,
It's the best. It's the best. And then of course, they had the whole block party, and you have like lots of different people coming out. Sharon Nelson came out and did an announcement at the block party that they had out for the mural unveiling. They also did purple lights onto the mural, which we didn't stay for because it was like 9:30, and it still wasn't dark out. It was just weird. But then they also had Dr. Mambo's Combo came out, and they actually played as well. So it was cool. It was cool to actually see everything. And of course, Audrey was getting on my case. The last broadcast we did, she was like, "It's not Sonny T's band." I was like, "But he's always there." And of course, this time he was not there.
Right. He was
not only was he not there for that one, but I don't think he was at the one at Bunkers either. You didn't mention that. But we did see Sonny. Sonny was walking around. Sonny was walking around at the event. Did you have a picture of you and Sonny? Didn't you?
Yeah, I think I do. Let me see.
Yeah. So I actually saw him, and I was just like, "Hey, yeah, man, this is Jeff Paige."
No. Yeah, here we go.
There you go. Yeah. All right. There you go. Yeah, look at you, man. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Bip, bip, bip. Yeah, Jeff Paige and Sonny T. Yeah, so I mean, it was good just to meet so many different people. Yeah, Taika came out as well, so many people out there, and it was just a lot of fun. It was just a great time. So then, as far as what Paisley Park's scenario was that they then had a launch party, that was fantastic, by the way, at the W, and it was a big success. DJ Linka Paris on the Wheels of Steel, she always kills it. Kills it. It's just, I mean, Linka is just a monster. And it's just, and I know that they had some VIP folks said that there was some speakers upstairs. They also had like some art display or something that was going on upstairs. Wasn't exactly clear what it was because we're not VIP. We're talking about general admission. But the displays were fantastic. But the party was definitely downstairs, where Linka was just killing it. I mean, just killing it. She was just
flawless, man.
She was just, and she was in the zone here. What was really, really cool is that there was so many different moments where it wasn't just sing-alongs. People were also ad-libbing stuff from live recordings.
Yes.
Like they were all yelling and bouncing up and down and going, clap your hands.
Yeah.
Stop your feet. I mean, it was like it was a whole thing. And it was just so much fun because everybody was there it's just packed. Everybody was, and this was like, you can see Linka back there in the right-hand side over there. Yes, Andre, she apparently got paid. Yes. Well, I would imagine she got paid.
I would imagine she did too. That's a strange
question,
but
let me tell you, she absolutely got, paid in good vibes for sure.
Yeah. And you know, when you see a lot of DJs that go out and they do their thing, every once in a while, something musically when they switch is just a little bit off timing or whatever. Not Linka, not at all. She never lost her stride all the way through. She was in like top. She brought her A game, A+ game, for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to see if I could play this one because I don't know what's going on with these one particular files here that I want to open up and play for you, but for whatever reason, it's only playing. I don't know. There's something obviously weird going on with these particular files, but I actually had a video. Dagnabbit. I actually had a video of at least a little dance clip. I don't know why I thought they worked. All right, so I actually had a dance party video, but I can't play it because for whatever reason it's being weird. So there's a picture of people dancing, but it was definitely much more. It was much more eventful than that. So sorry about that. Yeah, so I was wearing my fantastic purple jacket, and this is actually the jacket that I was wearing. That's me and Damon D. So I was hanging out with Damon. We were laughing about the whole coming out of retirement thing. We just say, but you can't really see my whole suit here. But there is a picture that was taken of me and Tracy. And she, before the picture was taken, she actually got my ear and she goes, "Your wife's not going to kill you if I raise my leg," is she? And I was just like, "No, she won't kill me."
Well,
but this is so this is the entire outfit. This is this is me with the jacket, the whole outfit, of course. Yeah. I didn't get killed. I'm still alive, as you can see. Of course, I don't think she's seen this picture yet. So
well, she hasn't seen the nudes either. Oh.
Yeah, this party went totally south, just so we're clear. This became a pajama jam real quick. Real quick. Yeah, so that's the entire outfit, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
The queen of outfits.
Queen of outfits.
Absolutely.
She never goes anywhere without being totally decked out and being the center of attention. It's just and it's not because it's just.
Yeah, she had it down to a science.
Oh yeah.
She was murdering that whole.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Kind of
So,
vibe.
but I wasn't the only one who was dapper. I mean, Jeff Paige was decked out too, but you don't have any pictures of that. I mean, so.
Yeah, I do have one where Alana took one of us. That's about it. But you can't really tell. All right. So let me explain what happened here. See, let me tell you. I don't really do a lot of selfies. It's just that's not my go-to. I don't think about it, and I just don't. And
I just want to make sure there's no evidence. I get it.
Yeah, I don't want proof. So I'm taking pictures of other people and other things. And somebody would go, hey, let's take a picture. I'm like, cool. I take off my mask. We take a picture. But in general, I wouldn't even think to ask. And I get yelled at for that. They're like, take pictures. I'm like, I don't want. So,
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, I know how it is. But, when you dress like we do, Mojos.
Mojos. What does that even mean?
I don't know. Ask Prince.
I know, right? But I tell you now,
It's a movie star reference for those who are trying to go, where's that from?
Mojos. Talk about Mojos and styling, man. I think that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right there is styling.
But
again, it's not me taking a selfie.
Yeah, Mr. Lenny Beeson from the Purple Underground in the house, and of course, there's actually pictures of the food truck behind you there.
Yeah, hey, is that
the pretzel guy. The pretzel guy didn't get a whole bunch of love from the people. So most of the people were at the catfish food truck, which I found a little unusual. But they serve catfish and other stuff too. But the fact that they were right there at catfish, but yeah, the pretzel guy didn't get a bunch of love.
Actually, he started getting when I got my pretzel. Then people were like, "Oh yeah," and then other people started going. But
if Jeff can eat the pretzels, we'll eat the pretzels.
I get it. If Jeff can do it, anybody can do it. WWJD.
All right.
What would Jeff do? That's just.
Already got the bracelets. Yeah. So, but as far as like the event at W, I mean, place is packed. Everybody's dancing. There were even some people in the back that were, had a little dance troupe that was going. That actually did some dance moves. Again, that's one of the other 2 videos I have left that apparently I'm not going to be able to play for whatever reason. But I also got to hang out with Tony Mosley, aka Tony M. We got to catch up and chat a little bit about the show that was going to be coming up on Saturday. And he just like, Chris, he says, just get ready. He says, get ready. And we're just like, and let me just tell you, we're going to talk about that when we get to day 3 here, but that was the understatement of the year.
Right.
That Saturday show with MPG and Prince live on the big screen was friggin' real. But we'll talk about that when we get to day 3. But all I got to say is, God damn. Day 1 was great. Launch party was well done. But everybody was saying, where are you going after this? I was like, to the hotel to pass out.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if I don't know. I just felt real tired, but I think it's because of the fact that we just had such a massive schedule, and I felt okay on day 2, minus the migraine. But other than that, I was okay. But yeah, Dave was asking, did I wear my chaps? A lot of people don't.
Dave.
Dave, we hung out with Dave and his wife. It was amazing. We had so much fun with Dave and those guys. It seemed like everywhere we went, Dave was there. But we were trying. We wanted. I think we were a couple. We were stalkers. We're not going to blame it on Dave. We're gonna say we were stalking Dave.
That's it.
But we went to Goodwill, the one right by in Chanhassen, to kind of see if maybe they had anything there at Goodwill that maybe might accentuate the outfits or whatever.
We were Goodwill hunting.
That's right. That's right. Goodwill hunting. And what was funny was that we go over to the special section, and somebody had actually left chaps. Actual leather chaps,
Real.
like the ones that are like $400 or $500 leather chaps, and they were like $30-something, and they were hanging there.
The
and
fact
I
that
looked.
you know how much they cost makes me nervous.
I had to look. I had to look to see how much the chaps were. I was like, leather chaps. I was like, I have no need for this whatsoever. But I was anticipating going to Rodney Fitzgerald, the Prince 365 group. I was planning to go to the Pajama Jam, and I was like, man, if I want to show up in something that's gonna like blow people's mind, maybe I go with these chaps. And and you are dying the fact that you made some comment. You made some comment. Go ahead.
You not only did you see the chaps, but we're in the store and you're holding them up like, like considering these chaps. I was waiting for you to start wrapping them around you. I mean, you were like really getting into it. I said, he's gonna buy those.
Just to be clear.
You
Just to be clear, I didn't. Just so we're clear, I did not buy the chaps.
You were full on. You were full on holding them and looking.
I was like,
people were walking by like, ooh.
It was a heavy consideration. I was absolutely, yes, I will not lie. There was consideration there. No, I did not buy them, and I did not wear them. But yeah, I did consider it. I highly considered it. I was like, man, I need people to talk about me. Like they talk about Tracy when she does her thing.
And Chaps would do it.
I said, Chaps would set this off for sure.
Chaps would set this on fire.
Anyways, yeah. So, needless to say, I did not have the Chaps. So, all right, so let's talk about day 2. Let's not get too far down rabbit holes. But, that's what you love us for, is the rabbit holes. So, day 2. We head to the Renaissance Hotel to catch the shuttle bus to the first day of Paisley Park. Jeff, this is your first time arriving at Paisley Park. I need to know what your first impressions are of the first time stepping onto the property.
All right. So, yeah, we pulled in, got off the bus. As I was getting off the bus, I'm thinking, wow, like, I'm finally here. They ushered us to the grass, and I was like, I hate it already.
Lie. It's lie.
Lies. I'm not a big outdoor sit around in the grass underneath tents kind of guy. I just don't do it. But if I was going to do it anywhere, this would have been the place. So I enjoyed it, and like you said, there was cornhole and ping pong and a few other
What you
things.
played?
The building was beautiful to me. Just seeing it and the little symbol in the front, and I just enjoyed being on the property. It was kind of like I wanted to, if I could, I would have walked up and just hugged the building, just like I made it. I'm here, start rubbing it. So I'm here. It's me. Mm-hmm. It's me and you.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
That's how I
felt. So when we first got off the bus, we were asked to kind of go over into that lawn area, which is the area that was in front of the egg. I mean, it's just an area that they typically don't use. And I think there was like a sign somewhere that said, keep off the grass or something. It was like everybody's on the grass. They had a couple of food trucks and a table that was serving pizza, baked goods from, Paisley Park, and some drinks and whatnot. As mentioned, we keep talking about the cornhole game set up and ping pong tables. Jeff Paige and I actually played ping pong quite a bit, and I guess the official Paisley Park videographers were walking around, and they spent a lot of time watching us play.
Yeah. But it was windy, man. It was windy.
It was not easy to play ping pong in the wind.
It was like, dunk, phew.
Yeah, so.
What's going on here?
We figured it out, though. We figured out how to pull it off, but, Anyway, so once we kind of did that for about an hour or so, we then started the museum experience. So one thing we had noticed and that we had spoken about, that some people had scheduled the Paisley Park tours on Monday after the celebration, because I guess we really didn't kind of realize whether or not they were going to actually do tours or not. But we all received cancellation notices of the tours before we even left. Mm-hmm. And, that was one of the things we had talked about as far as, why this happened or what was going on with that. But we still don't have any official word as to why this happened or or if it happened to everyone that scheduled a tour on Monday, or just the names that matched up with the folks from the celebration. But I believe that it was the latter, due to the fact that the museum experience that we then went into was basically a 2 to 3 hour portion of the schedule. Well,
Right.
hours for this day anyways. That was a self-guided tour of Paisley Park. And Jeff Paige, let's talk about what your first impressions were walking into the doors of Paisley Park.
Yeah, and this is gonna. I don't know if this will make sense to you guys, but like I said, getting on the property is one thing. When I walked in the room and in the actual into Paisley Park, that here we are. Truthfully, I felt nothing. But
That sounds so cold.
I know, but the thing is I've been waiting and wanting for so many years to be there. And now I finally made it, and he wasn't. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I felt more numb. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
dag. You know, so I mean, I'm not a high emotional roller coaster person, so I don't go through all that. But I definitely felt like it wasn't as enjoyable. I mean, it was enjoyable. It was like, this is amazing, but I felt a little empty, like something's missing in it.
Yeah.
It was
So this is the early shots that you're kind of looking at right here.
Yeah.
Most of this is very, very early atrium.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
made a lot of, but this is
Definitely.
kind of gives you an idea of some of the things. That is actually the elevator
Yeah.
part that's actually blocked off now. But this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of and the kitchen was open, which was very, very unusual. They actually had a set, but this is very. Yeah, so this is actually the main atrium area, and then of course they had this kitchen open, which was actually very, very cool. But yeah, to walk in here is just pretty shocking. You actually see all this stuff, and it's just beautiful up and down for sure.
Absolutely. Once I got past that initial hit, then the place just became light.
Yeah, that area in the kitchen you got to walk into this time. They used to have his ashes were actually in a miniature version of Paisley Park. It was like a little, I guess it's just like a version of what would normally be like a vase or whatever. That was in the middle of the floor, and that was removed, and then they put it above the kitchen, above the door. In a display above the door, above the kitchen, and then they've removed it altogether. But it was cool to be able to walk into the kitchen, and they have now a vending machine that was on the side, and you can actually see videos of there was just a lot of different things that you were able to see all through the whole thing. I mean, it was very, very cool. I don't think the vending machine. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they just must have put the vending machine in there, because I don't see it in here in this particular part of the image. But
Right.
yeah, it's just
The
it's
fact
just
that it was self-guided was nice too. It's just you
Yeah,
go
you-
where you want it, and sometimes you're not sure. Well, is it okay to walk over there? Is it okay to go there? And one of the ladies said to me, she said, if a door is open, you can go in. I was like, that's all I need to hear.
yeah.
So
It was very, very cool. So it's cool to be able to see a lot of this stuff, and it's definitely, if you've never been there before, it's definitely breathtaking. And that's an old video of the inside, because most of those doors that had this picture on them are now replaced with glass and actually have displays from particular, like the first one I think is the controversy one, that kind of has like a controversy type of wallpaper with some lyrics and cassettes and stuff. So it's really kind of cool to see some of that stuff, and so much. I mean, there's so much to see in that whole. It just is what it is. And one of the things you had actually mentioned was the fact that so many of the doors opened, including the doors to the studios,
yes,
and the studios were open to walk through, and then they played some unreleased tracks there. I think these are the same, if I remember correctly, these are the same unreleased tracks they've played before in the past. They played an early version of Rock and Roll Love Affair, and also of the song Breakdown, that ended with the layered vocals of Prince singing, which was breathtaking. I think it was, I tried to count all the parts, but I want to say there was like 6 different harmonies that were all Prince's voice layered. So they did the song Breakdown, but then they pulled all the instrumentation out, so it was just his vocals in that layered. It was
really wow.
Yeah, it was.
And not only that, but it was off the tape machine. So it's not even that it was mixed down or in the computer or anything. It was straight off the tape. So it's like, oh my gosh, this is the recording.
Yeah, and you get to see a lot of cool things, like, all these, the weird audio techniques. I haven't seen a lot of studios that are like this. I've seen the audios with the staggered ceilings, but one of the things you'll note about this particular studio is that you have all these wood pieces that you see up on top of the ceiling there that kind of, do things with sound. Yeah. And then it's not a square room. As you can tell, there are a bunch of angles all throughout this room. There's no standard angles inside this room. So the way it captures audio is really, really fantastic. So, and the only reason why most of you that have been there, you see all this stuff and you can understand it. But for those who have never been inside of Paisley Park, it kind of gives you an idea, just to kind of be able to view what this looks like from the inside. It's pretty friggin' awesome.
Really
was. But so there's a couple things that I happened to notice. Every time I'm there, I've been there quite a few times now, and every time I'm there, I try to find something that I haven't found before, and so I was able to kind of find a couple of things that I thought I would share with you guys that I thought was pretty interesting. The first one was in his office. I noticed that there were multiple copies of an album from somebody named Anna Mora, and I was not familiar with Anna Mora. I wasn't familiar with this release at all, but there was multiple copies of it. There was like about 4, I don't know how many, I don't remember how many there were, but there was at least 3 or 4 copies of this album on vinyl. And I couldn't figure out why. So, of course, I looked it up, and not surprisingly enough, this Prince was involved on this particular album. And I did not know that. I don't know all the songs that, some of these more lesser known artists that he kind of does things for. Prince wrote a song for Anna called Dream of Fire that is featured on this Desfado album. And he didn't play on it, but he wrote the lyrics for that song called Dream of Fire. And obviously that could explain why he had multiple copies of this album. But I looked at it and I said, all right, I got to figure out who this person is. So I did take a listen to it. I haven't brought the clip in here or anything because you guys can just go and listen to it. That's who she is, Anna Mora Desfado, and you can listen to it on Spotify. But the song that Prince wrote for her lyrically is called Dream of Fire, and he's the one that wrote the lyrics for that. So yeah, definitely check that out if you get an opportunity to check it out, because it's a really cool song. It's one of those standard songs that you would expect that Prince would hand off to somebody. He has a very, very distinct sound for the artists that he writes for, like folks like Leanne LaHavis and Andy Allo, and there's a distinct sound that I think that he gravitates towards when he's writing songs specifically for female artists, and it's got that sound, and I love it. It's a really great song. You need to check it out. Cool. While I was in the studio, and I only looked at this because for my own curiosity. Here's another thing that I happened to pick out. In the studio, for the music geeks out there, one of the things that caught my eye was I wanted to see what type of vocal mics that Prince used. And so for those who are curious, in this particular studio, the mics that he used are the Sony 800G mics. So if you're wanting to know what type of vocal mics Prince used in a lot of his recording studios, I saw that Sony 800G in a lot of different places. So he really gravitated towards that microphone. So that's specifically for you audiophiles out there. Definitely check it out. It's the Sony 800G. And matter of fact, if you see studio shots of him, he uses a lot of Sony gear. Like I've seen him with Sony headphones on. So he was a big, I don't remember ever hearing, I don't ever remember him having any type of arrangement with Sony.
Well, just know that that is a super expensive mic. So
You probably just looked it up. How much is it?
10 grand.
You're lying. That mic is $10,000.
10 grand. Over 10 grand. I mean, I'm just trying to round down so it doesn't hurt as much. $10,700. Almost 11 grand for that mic. So,
What does
those
that
of
mic do? Does it sing for you?
well, I mean, it might as well, but that's the point of the quality of a mic and a good recording. So just know what you're up against if you're an artist.
Yeah. So save up your pennies if you want to get the same mics that Prince uses. Because there weren't one, there was like multiple of those that I saw. So I didn't realize I was staring at a $10,000 mic.
I mean, yeah, that's just ridiculous.
That's crazy. Anyways, so for the lyric fanatics, they had a display inside of a road case. And many of you have seen that road case that's right there, but in the same studio where the ping pong tables are, they had a display. And there were lyrics. Most of the lyrics, I think I saw Raspberry Beret in there and a couple others. So most of the standard songs that you saw. But for some reason, I don't know if this wasn't in there before or maybe it was and I missed it. But there was a song in there called Funky for No Reason. Funky for No Reason. And it was a song that was written during the 2000 celebration that it's believed that he may have written for Angie Stone, but that's not confirmed. Angie had attended the celebration in Celebration 2000 and came up and sang during the Take Me With You Raspberry Beret song. It was like a mash of those songs. And she started chanting, "This band is funky for no reason." And Prince, of course, liked that. And so he wrote a song about it. And so I kind of looked up some of that information. And what were you going to say?
No, nothing. I just think that's a great story.
Yeah, so lucky for you, I didn't jot down the whole song, but I did jot down the last verse of this song because it made me laugh. I read it, and it made me laugh, and I said, I need to write this down. It says, "There you go standing next to me, bragging about who's taller, smelling like the latest case of mad cow disease. I know a good doctor. Here's her number. Call her. She'll give you a bull stank story. You know what I'm talking about. What the police say, don't stand so close to me. Help a brother out." So I was like, okay. All right, then. Leave it to Prince. I would have loved to hear the flow of this because some of you, the way that Prince's lyrics kind of come together, it's just, I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Consciousness flow, like I'm just talking it out.
Yeah. So needless to say, there's so many cool things, so many little tidbits all throughout the museum experience. And, like Jeff had just alluded to, you can walk through the entire Paisley Park. As long as the door was open, you could walk through. You can actually peek in and see some stuff going on. I think one time we did the museum experience twice, but we went in and they actually had the VIP listening sessions because there was listening sessions that were going on for VIP that were happening that I wish we could have been a part of, but it is what it is. So it was very, very cool to get to just walk through and see all the stuff that was there for sure. So what did you think of the base of me? We're going to talk about the beautiful collection here in a second. What did you feel about the overall museum experience?
Oh, it was great. It was great. If you show that video again, the first door was that Love Sexy room. And they had video going on, kind of going through his life and different things that he's done, and it was really nice breakdown. You go in there and you just kind of sit down, and it's on 4 screens, and each screen was showing something different, but they would come together and then it would separate. So you just had to be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
But it was well done. It was nice to sit in there and see that. But overall, I really enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the other cool thing, obviously, the added extra thing that was on there, it's listed as 2 separate items on the agenda, but the other thing that we got to do on this day was the beautiful collection, which is being able to walk through and check out the collection of
This is very exciting, Mitch.
of
Thanks for
shoes.
having us at
I'm
Paisley
actually
Park.
pulled this from an actual news place, so I'm not going to play the audio. But this is actually gives you an idea of this beautiful collection as they're showcasing. That's Mitch, who is, I don't know what this official title is, but he's over Paisley Park right now, and at the moment. I'm not saying that for any type of negative reasons. I'm just saying that the family is about to apparently take over, and once that happens, hopefully, some of these fine folks will stay on board. But what's really, really cool is that you get to see all of Prince's shoes on this massive display.
Yeah.
And it is just the way that they kind of go through and show all the shoes that are available for you to take a look at. I mean, look at all those shoes. I mean, it's just unreal to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of shoes.
I mean, that's like Imelda Marcos level of.
Yeah, I know, right? Like... And they have a switch.
Google it,
there
kids.
was a switch that they could flip to turn this on, and what it would do is it would turn this whole room into a show kind of thing. All the lights would go out, and you'd hear something, and then music would start, and the lights would come on each case, and everything would go on, and then they'd be like, "Hey, you're here." It's like, okay.
Yeah, and all this stuff. I mean, the fact that they actually had a video going on behind this, where we're actually standing here, and a video going on behind from the 2 gentlemen that were the main primary ones that were responsible for making his shoes over the years. And they were talking about how, like, the supports underneath, for instance, like if you look at the shoes underneath where the heel comes up and meets the shoe, they had to put like a bunch of extra supports.
They all had metal brackets.
Yeah, they all had these like insane metal brackets that would, because he would jump off the stage, and like one of the older gentlemen that I don't have their names in front of me, but the older gentleman that made the shoe said he would have a heart attack watching Prince jump off of one stage level onto another, and he'd be like, he's going to break that heel. It's just going to happen. He's just going to snap off.
Yeah. So, but these metal brackets though, and on every shoe, you can look, and if you can see, they were there. It's like, okay, good.
It's just, yeah. If you get an opportunity to go see this is actually from a news broadcast, courtesy of one of the Minneapolis TV stations that's there. Definitely make sure that you go down to Paisley Park and you view this collection, because it's just staggering. Yes, Kaz, thank you, Don. It's just staggering the amount of and they were also talking about how they kind of broke down some of these shoes. Like he would want a specific type of design, and look, it goes all the way up top there. And how they would kind of break down they would go and buy a shoe, like they break down a Skechers shoe, or they would break down some type of shoe like that, and he would literally tear it apart, rip it apart, and then recreate it from the ground up. If Prince liked a specific type of shoe, that they would just rip everything apart. And you had actually met somebody there at the beautiful collection part of it that you said worked with fabrics, or what was her name? That you were.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
See if she can remember.
My brain, it's like gone. But yeah, she's actually.
Can she remember? Yes. So she made a lot of the accompanying accessories and stuff. I'll let you look it up. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
I don't know.
And when you were talking to her.
Yeah.
But so it's really, really cool to kind of see all the people that put together so much of this stuff. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they say that in his shoes, in women's sizes, was a size 6. That's a small foot. That's one thing I was noticing about his foot. There was only like, this big. See, I wear a size 12, in some cases 13, depending on the shoe. I was looking at his feet. They were just so small. I don't know. Anyways, anyways, so somebody, and they actually had those two gentlemen on one of the panels, and somehow we missed the Beautiful Collection panel because once Jill Jones and Tom Garneau finished for the day, Mitch came back on the mic and made it sound like we were supposed to leave and get back on the shuttle bus and come back later.
Right.
And then we got back and people were talking about the panel. I was like really confused. So something got messed up and we ended up missing that panel. I would have loved to have seen it, but so we won't be able to talk about that panel at all. So we apologize about that. But it was, what was the host name? Was it Rhonda? So anyway, she came on and said something, and then Mitch came on and said something. Yes, and it made it sound like we had to leave, and so we left, and then we came back, and we're like, "Oh man, you missed the Beautiful Collection panel." And it's like, what? I don't think we realized that until the next day, though. I think wasn't
exactly. It was the next day that we found out, and we're like, "Oh man, seriously."
So, but anyways, after the museum experience and Beautiful Collection part was over, I made sure that I headed to the store to. Yeah, because this is actually one of our first opportunities to be able to go into the store. But I made sure that I went and grabbed this beauty right here. Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, this is the box collection. As you can see, unopened, still got the plastic on it. This is I don't know what they were calling. I think they were just calling this the collector's edition. This is the one that comes with the 2 CDs, the 3 LPs, the Blu-ray set, a book, first time ever on vinyl, colored vinyl. And yes, I will be doing an unboxing of this. I am aware that there's some people that have already done an unboxing of this, but I don't really care. I'm going to do an unboxing of it because you probably like me more than whoever did it previously. So, so I will be doing it, and that was only $119.98. So, yeah, I was, and I was kind of a little bit disappointed in myself. I was like, why did I buy this right now? Because now I have to carry this around all day. All right. But as you can probably see behind me, every single box set that has been released by the estate, I have purchased. There is, and it's always been the deluxe. I have the 1999 deluxe. I have the Purple Rain deluxe. There was only one that was given to me, and that was the originals one. And somebody, I said, oh, I have all of them except for the originals one. And then somebody sent me the originals one. And, so it's handled. So there's been nothing that the estate has released that I have not gotten a hold of. There's been I think there was some special editions of, not the Ultimate Experience. Was it the Gold Experience? I can't remember what one it was. There's a couple like independent ones, but it was no. Anyways, afterwards we took a short break, and then we went into some of the panels. We are still on day 2, just by the way. Just so we're clear. Still on day 2. And the first person on the panel was the amazing Jill Jones. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be taking your thunder on that.
You are firmified. He's got a lot of
so she said she hadn't been back there since 2016. She said that was her last visit, and she said, so we're talking about some highlights here. So I'm going to talk about some highlights of some of the things that each one of the panelists said, to kind of give you guys a little bit of background and bullet points of each one. But Jill Jones, she said she would have come back sooner, but her quote was, "But Apollonia messed up and got me banned," which a lot of people laughed about. A lot of people laughed about it. A lot of people thought it was really, really funny, but most people didn't know why they were laughing. Right. Because unless you follow each one of these individuals socially, you're not going to. Unless you follow each one of them individually, you're just not going to understand everything that's going on, because you never know, you never know who says what. That's just the reality of it. Right. But the first thing, and even I didn't know, even I wasn't completely clear on, I had a couple thoughts and ideas of what it might be. Like the first thing I thought was, back on Jill's Twitter account when she said some very not nice things about certain people that are higher up in Paisley Park and on her social media right after Prince's passing. She said some pretty not nice things about specific individuals. But I immediately disregarded that because she said it was Apollonia's fault that she got banned and Apollonia didn't have anything to do with that. So, anyways, there was that. The other thought was maybe it was surrounding the lemon cake fiasco. And for those not familiar with the lemon cake fiasco, that was all because that was Apollonia started. And the lemon cake fiasco was this whole thing where she did this massive post, that was railing on Sheila E. because of the lemon cake song that she released. And then she went on this news broadcast and said that Prince used to love her lemon cake, and Apollonia went off because that's not, apparently there was Brenda Bennett's husband made lemon cake also. It was a whole thing. And because of the fact that Sheila E. is, one of the, I guess, board members or whatever her position is at Paisley Park, I thought that may have got her banned. But I immediately disregarded that one too because I just didn't want to get too much into that. But it was a thought. And I hadn't heard much about any other bands outside of that being associated with that. So I discarded that. Ended up that upon further research, I finally found it. It was not because of either one of those things, but she was banned by association. Like I thought the whole lemon cake thing was, she was banned by association. Apparently in 2017, I don't know the exact dates, but Morris Day and the Time played at Paisley Park. And a lot of folks were supposed to have been in attendance, including Apollonia, Jill Jones, Brenda, etc. And Apollonia was already there at Paisley Park at the event. Jill Jones hadn't arrived yet. She was still on the plane. She was still flying in. And Apollonia was caught taking pictures inside of the museum and ended up getting banned. And it was guilt by association. And remember when this whole thing first started, when they first opened up the Paisley Park as a museum, how really heavy-handed they were about don't take pictures, don't do this, don't do that, right, whatever it was. But they were like really crazy overboard about don't touch this, don't wipe your nose, don't turn left twice. It was ridiculous. Right. But this was when the whole the same company that's running Elvis's, that was, anyways, I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue, but they don't run things anymore, thank God. But anyway, so they got banned. But apparently, so she did a post about that, and she said, Jill posted on her Twitter, and this you can find it on her Twitter account if you scroll back to April 2017. She said, "For the record, Joel Weinshanker and Shannon Pratt and Scott March are behind the ban. A guy named Scott was made the face of the band." Referring to Prince's family, she said, "This was before the judge named them as heirs, and it was really not in their control. But hopefully it will impress upon everyone that the family had very little control over these monsters handling this nightmare. Mind you, I was on a plane flying in, LOL. I did not get there in time for the tour. Hoopla started before I got in. Next day, we got no passes to the show. So we missed seeing Morris. We laughed about it going in hijabs and chadors. I don't know what that means. And he said the security was told that we were banned." So apparently because of the fact that Apollonia took pictures of, Wendy, I know it was Graceland. I was talking about the name of the company that oversaw the thing. But apparently because Apollonia took pictures inside the museum, which was a big no-no, and she was caught doing it, she was banned, and a bunch of people associated with her were banned as well, including Jill. And so that's what the whole thing was. So I know a lot of people that were there laughed and had their guesses, and I finally was able to boil it down for you so that you have the facts. That's what it was. So I think very, very few people that laughed at it actually knew what the reasoning was. There's your reason. So I wanted to make sure we got some clarity on there. For everyone that was being driven crazy about that comment and feeling guilty that you laughed about it when you really internally you didn't know, you're like, ha ha ha, that's funny. You know what happened, right? Yeah, yeah. It was a good thing. Ooh, yeah, it was a good thing. Google.
What band?
Yeah, it was funny. You should have been there. Anyways, so So now you can feel better about it. You got it. Anyway, so she also talked about it when she first came out to Paisley Park, how it was great being there because, in the early days of Paisley Park, there were no distractions. There were just like rows of corn. There was like none of those shopping centers that are out there that are like a little less than a mile right now. Now there's an industrial park behind it. But yeah, no distractions. And as she said, as she quoted, she said, nowhere to run away either. So basically, if you were upset about something,
You're still stuck.
you had to stomp off to nowhere or just get over it.
Stomp off to nowhere. Go in a room.
Yeah, that was just there. So she had some other good tidbits too. She told us that Prince had a bad speeding issue. So apparently he got a lot of tickets because he could not maintain the... I can only imagine where Chanhassen is right now. You can imagine if there's nothing out there like there is now with the lights and everything, and that's a wide open road in the middle of nowhere. How could you...
go fast? Yeah.
How could you not? I am a Jersey boy, and I can tell you that that's how I learned how to drive, was on those wide open roads in the middle of nowhere where you just like, stealing cars and carjacking people. Carjacking old ladies, leaving kids in their car seats on the side of the road. It was all that stuff. But it was also funny is that they said that Prince also used to let her drive even though she didn't have a driver's license. She thought she had a driver's license, but apparently something happened and she found out that she didn't. I don't know what the story was there, but she didn't elaborate, but I just thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah, it must be interesting to find out you don't have a license.
I'm sorry, officer. I don't have a driver's license.
Well, this feels like a license.
Do you not have it on file? Anyways, one memory I thought was really, really funny is that she said that there used to be a room, I think it was a studio or something, that had black carpet in one of the rooms, and Prince hated footprints.
Right.
That was a little weird statement. So she had, so he would constantly have this lady named Sandy Scipione constantly vacuum behind him because he hated footprints in the carpet.
And on the stairs, I think she said he would skip steps, to try not make foot. I was like, wow, okay.
All these little weird intricacies that you learn about Prince is just like, I can imagine, him vacuuming behind himself because it's like, I do that when I'm vacuuming I don't know if you do that when you vacuum your room, but it's like when you vacuum your room, you kind of vacuum behind because you don't want footprints. So you kind of walk backwards but he was like, he had somebody assigned to do that, assigned to vacuum footprints behind him. So that's kind of weird. And he also didn't like doing storyboards with his music videos. I mean, he essentially had a vision and he walked you visually through it and you went from there. She also talked a little bit about that. She talked about the video for Automatic where when she tied him up to the bed and apparently was notably fantastic at it. The director was saying, wow, you tied him up like you were a rancher. And he couldn't get out. Like it was tied so well he couldn't get out, so they had to go in and untie him because she was just apparently just
really good at it.
Just did it so well. I guess that's when you got me. So talked a little bit about the albums. Of course, the highlights was certainly the unreleased song clips that they played. But before we dive into that, Jill told us, I'm telling you some of the highlights and tidbits that she was giving us, that on G Spot, on an early version of it, that the sax solo or the sax work that you hear on that song was actually Prince playing the saxophone.
Initially, yeah.
Obviously, he didn't do it well. So Eric Leeds had to come in behind him and polish it up for the recording itself. But that just, when she divulged that to everybody, you could hear a audible gasp in the room, like, what? Right. I mean, everybody knows that Prince plays a lot of instruments, but he does not play horns. He just doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. Yeah, he did. He apparently did. He did play sax. He just, I think I heard somebody else telling stories too, that they would hear him playing, bleeding and blapping on saxophones or whatever in a room, just trying to get some type of, continuity sound out of it. So it's actually pretty cool, but they played some unreleased tracks, which I was so excited to hear because I love hearing unreleased music like all of us do. So for those of you who were there, you got to hear some really, really cool stuff. You got to hear Wednesday. And I actually have a version of this song by Prince. Obviously, it's a bootleg. that I don't remember who sent it to me or where I got it from. It's not great, but it's just him and a piano. But it's a very, very dark, suicidal type of song. If you're not home by Wednesday, there's no telling what I might do. It's like really just this dark song, really foreboding. Like
I don't think you should sing that again. I just
that's how low it goes. It's like really
I know.
Did it turn you on? Did it make you feel some sort of way?
Oh, some sort of way. Turn on.
They also played Baby Knows How to Love Me. Many folks have already heard the song already, but this version was very heavy on strings and featured Prince and Jill Jones together in a duet type of setup. Very, very cool. They played 77 Bleecker Street. Everybody's heard that song, of course. Everybody knows the song. But she said that the song was about someone that she had a lot. I guess people were talking about the source of the song. And she said there's a song about someone that she had a crush on when she was younger, and that was actually their address. She intentionally misspelled the name of the street to protect identities, I guess.
Right.
But this one had Prince and Jill swapping verses, so it was a very, very cool version. And they also played Violet Blue. And she shared an interesting backstory on that song, saying that she and Prince weren't getting along at that point. And so it was a really kind of tough, emotional song. Because at that point, when they recorded Violet Blue, he had started dating Susanna Melvoin, Wendy's sister. Anyways, it was just this incredibly high tension. And to add to that whole emotion, she said that they were recording a video for Good Love.
Yeah.
And he had Jill star in the video, but he asked Susanna Melvoin to direct the video. And obviously both of them are very aware of it's an ex-girlfriend being directed by a current girlfriend. It's this she essentially said there could have been bloodshed during that session. That's how high tension it was for that video of Good Love. Pretty cool.
She didn't like it. Let's just say.
I didn't rewatch that. I need to find that video and rewatch it because it would be interesting to kind of see if there's any tension going on there. Any visible clues now that you know that Susanna's standing behind the camera of this whole thing. And anyways. But then she kind of closed things up talking about Graffiti Bridge. Short of saying anything negative, she basically said, I didn't even know what that really was. That was like the all-encompassing statement about Graffiti Bridge for her. She kind of shared her thoughts about how she felt, how she kind of felt it went sideways. You said it was a closed set and that a lot of his original vision was actually cut from the movie. And it just wasn't cohesive in her opinion. I think in a lot of people's opinion, it wasn't cohesive. Mm-hmm. And one of the statements that she made, and I don't know what statement she was making with this, but she said that she viewed it as a let's keep up with Teddy Riley moment.
Right.
I don't know what that means. I know that Teddy Riley is a very accomplished music producer. He's done a lot of work with a lot of different artists, but did Teddy make any movies? I'm not aware that he made any movies. I'm not sure what she meant by that statement.
I don't know what she meant by that either.
Yeah. Anyways, a lot of these folks come from the ATL anyway. So, but she also said that it was the last thing they did together was Graffiti Bridge. And that when she was talking about, the Jill Jones album in itself, she felt like her music attracted women who have a little bit of a dark side, misunderstood deep thinkers are basically how I think she put it.
Yeah, that's how she put it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a lot of stuff going on.
So if you are a misunderstood deep thinker,
you probably gravitate towards this album.
You should probably have her albums.
You'll gravitate towards this album because that's one of the things that I appreciated about that album more than anything else. I mean, I think she's a good vocalist. She has a distinct sound to her vocals. It's got this gritty, raw, she puts a lot of character in her songs. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like she's not just singing it, but she's also being very theatrical and she's acting out a lot of parts. And I think that's what a lot of people gravitate towards because it's just that feeling. It really had, it was the definitely the encompassing of that 80s feel. The 80s were very, very theatric and, but yeah, Jill Jones with that. So we took a quick break, and then we had the final panel of the day, which was Tom Garneau. Actually, it wasn't the final panel of the day. I think it wasn't. It was. I think the Beautiful Collection was the final panel. Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Beautiful Collection was the final one. But for us,
It was the final for us.
as far as we knew, Tom Garneau came out. Some highlights there. Let's talk about some quick highlights for Tom. Are we throwing a lot of information out? I'm gonna take a little bit of a brain break here. Are we just throwing like way too much information at you guys? Is this too much for anybody?
It's
Do we
too
need to
much
like
for me, and I was there.
do we need to like do a part 2 like next week or something? Is this too much? I mean, I can, we can certainly take a break if we need to.
Yeah,
Actually,
we can jump ahead faster or something.
No, everybody's just like, nope, just give it to us.
They're waking up like, huh? What? Oh, well, this is our break. Hold on. I'm going to show you this, if I can.
There you go. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Talk a little about my shirt. We didn't actually make it to the skate party. We didn't make it to the skate party, but
I definitely wasn't going to be able to, but you could have.
I
I quarantined myself in a hotel room that day.
Yes, exactly. And I could have gone, but given the circumstances, I ended up not going. And I took that as an opportunity to rest, because we were going pretty hard already anyways. And so, yeah. But they were doing a skate party, the Glam Slam at the this thing, and it was pretty cool. We got T-shirts. These T-shirts we got actually at the PG, at the PG party that we did the broadcast, is talking to the people. And as you guys remember, if you saw that broadcast when I was walking around jittery and all with the bad images, and I didn't even have coffee, but that's where those people were promoting and talking about their events coming up. So it's a nice T-shirt too. I like it.
Trayvon's asking what happened to the Parade Deluxe set. They played some unreleased music from that. I think, as far as I've heard, it's still one of these things that has so many different clearances that they have to go through that who knows when this will come out. There's nothing that's on the books right now. We're assuming that that's going to be the next one that's going to be coming out, just because of everything that we've seen and everything that we've heard. But now things have kind of turned a little bit, and so we don't know. But we know that it's a good portion of that package, from we've heard internally, is ready, but it's all around the movie right now. It has to do with rights and stuff around the movie, and some of the other things that kind of get tied to it, and also some of the songs. There's something else going on with songs, and I don't know what that would be, but it is all a rights thing because of the fact it's attached to a movie, and the movie is a nightmare. It's changed. The movie has changed. The rights for the movie have changed hands multiple times, so that's the reason for that. So there you go. That's your break.
That's your break. Now, where were we?
That's your break. All right. So we took a break, just like we just did right there, and now we went and got to the panel for Tom Garneau.
And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Do you know where your kids are at?
Do you know where your kids are?
Your children are? Yeah, they're smoking crack in the back. What's the problem here? Where's the problem there? They got. I'd rather them learn under my roof than out there doing those what's up for.
If they're gonna smoke crack, they're gonna smoke it with me. That's all I'm saying.
If they OD here, at least they're home. I don't got to worry about taking them nowhere. They OD here.
They OD, and at least I know. I don't have to find them. They're dead in my presence.
Yeah, we got everything. We got everything here. We got the adrenaline shots. We got everything here. What else do you need? So,
that's pretty sad.
Welcome to Funkatopia. WTF. All right, so Tom Garneau. Let's talk about Tom Garneau. Tom is best known for production work on the Love Symbol album, where he worked on songs like The Continental, The Latest Fashion, Sexy MF, Love to the Nines, Sieves in the Temple, Seven. So all your like the biggest hits on there, Tom has had his hand on. A lot of people don't know this, but he also did some vocal work too. He's not a singer, and he admittedly so, but Prince forced him into the studio for a couple of different things that he was working on. One notable one was the American in Paris song, which some of you don't know, but American in Paris, he actually sings the background on that track with another producer, Mike Koppelman. And if you know the American in Paris song, it's the part that, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the part that, anyways, him and Mike Koppelman do it. I am a singer, but I am not in a vocal shape to do anything right now. So he said that he met Prince working at Paisley Park and the way that he met him, he was in the process of testing Prince's guitar, and as he's got Prince's guitar around him and as he's going to strum, Prince walks in.
He said he was shredding too. He was like,
yeah, he was just going at it. And Prince walks in and he kind of froze like it was being caught with Prince's girlfriend. It was just like, hi.
Like, yeah.
Yes, you're kind of, how are you doing? And he's like, starts to take it off. And Prince's like, no, go ahead, finish. And it's like, I'd rather not.
No, I'm sorry. It's not what it looks like.
So, yeah, it's just, I was just touching it. Just the tip. Anyways, shout out to Dwayne Tudall. Dwayne Tudall was interviewing him, and I love hanging out with Dwayne. Dwayne's one of my favorite people on the planet. I normally get an opportunity to hang out with him. We normally eat dinner together or hang out. We talk on the phone for hours and sometimes, but with these past months, I've not got to hang out with Dwayne at all, and we didn't get to hang out at all here either. But he had a really, really great one. He dropped a gem during this interview because Tom was talking about how you basically had to read Prince's mind to just know what Prince wanted. And Dwayne referred to it as Prince-tinct. I thought that was awesome. I was like, kudos. I don't know if somebody came up with this before, but that was the first time I had heard that phrase, Prince-tinct. I love the fact, my favorite one was when Prince was on Instagram and he called it Princeagram. I thought that was the best. But Prince-tinct was another good one. So kudos to Dwayne. You are the master for a reason. That was a good one, Prince-tinct. But Tom was also the one who mixed and provided the unreleased track that the VIP folks got to listen to on that track called Son of Sexy MF. So for all you VIP folks that got to listen to that track, Tom was the one who actually was part of that. I'm jealous. I would love to hear that track. Sexy MF is a fantastic track as it is. You always think of the first track that comes to mind is Slide by Slave, because I always think of Son of Slide, and I'm assuming that's probably how it came to be, but I would love to hear Son of Sexy MF. I want to hear that. Right. But another notable item was discovering Prince used to run a lot of instruments through guitar mic pedals. Like he would take his drum machine and he would plug it up to a guitar mic pedal in order to apply whatever effect came off of that pedal onto the drum. And we do that for a variety of different instruments to get specific sounds. And Dwayne was like, what? He did what? Have you ever done it? I know you play a lot of instruments. Have you ever done anything like that?
I have done it on various drum machines that I have here. All my equipment here has been through something pedal-wise.
Well, because, I mean, where did you hear to learn how to do that? Was it just tinkering around, or did you hear?
Originally tinkering, but it didn't make sense. And then I read about it being done, and then it felt okay to do. Like I didn't know why I was doing it at the time. You know?
Well, it's an effect. So I mean, you know, for those non-musicians, basically you have a guitar that has a very, very straight, distinct sound. You have some different little changes that you can make with tone on the guitar itself, but when you take that guitar and you plug it into a guitar effects pedal, it can apply different types of effects to it, like the wah-wah sound or, any type of different effects depending on the pedal that you have. And the more pedals that you can actually, chain together, you can create all kinds of crazy sounds depending on how you layer things up. And
I do that a lot with my bass.
So, and what Prince is doing in a lot of cases is taking things that typically probably shouldn't go through, like the drums, like the chord from a drum machine, and putting it through a guitar effects pedal and applying that same effect to drums, which is kind of weird. But it's, that's how he got some of the really strange, weird effects that he would get. And so, hence that was, another interesting note that Tom had mentioned. We're talking about Tom Garneau still, for those who were just joining us. He also said that they would have to, what he called foof. F-O-O-F, as I'm assuming is the right spelling of this. He would foof a room before Prince got there. Basically, they would have to put up drapes and candles and, pre-light incense to make it smell a certain way. And he called it foofing a room. And so this is a process that they would have to go through in order, before Prince got there, to kind of make sure it was set up the way that he wanted, so he can just kind of walk in and do his magic and then walk out. So that's kind of what producers do, but I just thought it was funny. Something that kind of caught me out. Now, we always knew that Prince was notorious for these super, super long recording sessions, but Tom said that 30 hours, 30-hour recording sessions were typical. That's going into a recording studio at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and not leaving until 10 o'clock the next day.
Right.
That's insane. And he said that 30-hour sessions are typical. That's just, Another little tidbit was the harmonica that you hear in the song Thieves in the Temple was actually lifted from a Chambers Brothers song, which that was one of the albums that I bought. It was the Chambers Brothers album. I don't know if it was one of them, but anyways, there was a harmonica solo, and he mentioned the name of the song, but I didn't write that down. Yeah. But it was they lifted the harmonica solo from the Chambers Brothers song. They took it and they made a bunch of adjustments to it, and they chopped it into a bunch of different pieces just because they liked the way it sounded, and made some adjustments tonally to it. And that's what you hear. So the harmonica on Thieves in the Temple is not someone actually playing the harmonica. It was stripped from a Chambers Brothers song and then pieced and manipulated, and that's kind of, So, well, okay, we got a few more tidbits up for Tom. The last full band track that Tom worked on with Prince was "I Hate You," and he specifically reiterated full band track. And he was, and Tom was a little bit of a wild card himself. He noted that during filming of something that was going on, that there was a black motorcycle in Paisley Park, in that main area of Paisley Park, and it was in the studio, and he just hopped on it at 2 o'clock in the morning and drove it around Paisley Park. Yeah. Very, very dangerous, considering the fact that he could have wrecked it or scratched it, or something could have happened or ruined something or whatever, and that could have been very, very, but those are things that go through my head whenever I'm thinking about doing something that's outside of the ballpark. But anyways, yeah.
I mean, I don't tend to think. Just a doy.
I think if you were in that scenario, you probably would.
Probably twice.
Yeah, but he said that the last time he actually took a break from Paisley Park, and a lot of people were always shocked because the saying goes that you only leave Paisley Park as an employer, and as an employee, if you get fired or you die, right? Those are the two things. But Tom just decided just to walk away. Luckily, Prince brought him back even after he had left he wanted to focus on some other things, but he just walked away, and people were like, what? How are you? This is like the echelon. This is the pinnacle. This is what you strive for, is to be here at Paisley Park. And he just walked away. Said that the last time that he saw Prince, he was walking across the street at First Avenue. This is the last tidbit. He was walking across the street at First Avenue, and as he's walking in the crosswalk, he looks over, and Prince is sitting in the car, and Prince just looked up at him, sees him, notices him, and just gives him the finger. And I just thought that was hilarious because a lot of people, you think Prince kind of that's just the joker that he is, and he said he was kind of a little bit disheartened that the last time that he saw Prince flipped him off.
Right.
But he told a story about him. What was the story that he shared?
At the beach, I think it was Wendy. Well, yeah, he told the story then later where they were at. I think it was the beach, and I think it was either Wendy or Lisa. He said, come here," and he was telling her story, and she was swimming out to where he was, and he said, "Come in," and she swam all the way over, and she was underneath, and he was under the water, and he was like this. And all of a sudden, he didn't feel bad anymore because he was like, "Oh, so apparently the finger is a term of endearment."
Right.
So he felt
And that's
better about it.
So that's all that matters on that.
That's right.
And so one of the things, so that's all the little bullet points that I had on Tom Garneau. One of the things I forgot to mention when we were talking about the musical experience was that they also handed out these, which I thought was very, very cool. This is a museum experience handout that they actually had, and it kind of talks about, it showed you exactly how Paisley Park is laid out, and the lawn, and it's kind of got some, stories on the inside in the office and the Studio B and the atrium and this kind of stuff in here. And it's very cool. It's very, this was actually, and I actually have 2 of these. I don't know how I got 2 of them. Like, they kept handing them to me, so I have 2 of them.
You
So
probably took mine. No, I'm just kidding.
maybe I'll send it to a listener somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Not Andre, because he's in Canada, and it will cost me $70 to send this to him. Anyways, so then let's close out day 2, shall we? Let's finally get closed up with day 2. Day 2 finished up with a live performance, a full band performance from Brown Mark and the Bad Boys of Paisley, which it's a cool show. It features Brown Mark and members of his band, the Revolution. I'm not the Revolution. His band, Brown Mark Nation.
Right.
So that's actually. It was very, very cool to see him there. And also Tony Christian, who came out when Tony came out, the whole show changed.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. He came out and performed a few Maserati songs, played random tracks like Players Ball, a newer version of Stroke. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And of course, 100 miles per hour.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole time he's performing, I think that maybe Brown Mark felt like he had to compete with what was going to be happening on Saturday night with Prince live on the big screen and the full band of, MPG playing. So he kind of felt like there needed to be some type of large visual happening in the background. So he had some video going behind him that was synchronized. And there were some video clips that seemed a little bit repetitive, but overall it was cool to have some visuals to watch while the show was going on.
Yeah.
It's tough to put on a show like this together in such a short period of time. And I think I talked to Brown Mark after the show was over, and I said, how do you feel like it went? And I was talking to him on the phone, and he said, yeah, it was good. For the very, very limited amount of time they got to rehearse, I think he said they only rehearsed like a couple of days.
Right.
So it was just a scheduling thing, and they played Prince stuff, Maserati stuff, a lot of Brown Mark solo materials. I think I heard a couple of Michael Jackson tunes in there as well. Man, I heard about that from some folks as well. Faux show. There was some feedback on that, but let's just leave it at that. But anyways, they're such a, Brown Mark and the Bad Boys of Paisley, the Maserati configuration that they have as well. Brown Mark had some really strong solo material, which he's like one of these musicians that's just like sorely overlooked because he's such a phenomenal songwriter. Yeah. But it's such a good tight band, and they accomplished a lot for only being able to host for a couple of days beforehand. It was sonically impressive. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
It was great. Yeah,
it was really, really good. So Brown Mark, Bad Boys of Paisley, maybe they might release a video to showcase that for some of you guys who missed it. I neglected to bring my book with me to document some of the set list, but it was what it was. But that, my friend, was the end of day 2. Did we go somewhere after this, or did we go home? Or to the hotel?
After day 2, I think we went. No, I think we went back to the hotel.
Seems like I want to say
No,
we
there
went
was
somewhere.
something. No, we did go. There was. Shoot, still a blank to me. Where did we go after this?
I don't know. I can't remember. There was something. There was something that we went to after this.
I wish I guess if I had the schedule in front of me, I'd probably go. Oh yeah, we went to that. Because I think you're right. We did go somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yeah.
We did not make it out to the. Oh, we went to 2 places after this. We went to Uptown.
Oh right.
We went to
And
go
then
see
we went-
DJ. Yeah, we went to go see DJ Dudley D,
Yeah, and then we shot
we went-
over to the other one.
which was great. We got to see DJ Dudley D playing in Minneapolis. Or was it Minneapolis? I can't remember the exact address of it. It was I think it was Minneapolis. It was at the Grenada Theater
Yeah.
or the Granada Theater. Who knows how to pronounce it? Granada, tomato.
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 Hey, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. Just add some tomato sauce on there.
It was a theater.
Tomato
Yeah,
sauce,
it was a
tomato
theater.
sauce, whatever.
Yeah.
Shut your face and give me some spaghetti. Stupid. Anyway, that was fun. And then after we left there and went to Perkins to go see Linka Paris play at Perkins, which was very, very cool because at that point in time, a lot of people had left. So we literally got to stand right there next to Linka and just watch her do her thing. And it was just,
Hang out. She's so nice.
oh my God. Yeah, she's just it's so-
Playful. She's working and playing. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
just she's not that type. It's like, leave me alone. I'm busy. You know, she's enjoying the audience, enjoying the crowd, and those who were there for day 1 of the celebration. You know, the big night is like that. She's partying while she's playing. She's yelling over at people in front of her and enjoying them, and I mean, she's just very fun.
Yeah, it was, and also we were telling people it's called The Return of Perkins, but the problem is that it wasn't Perkins, it was at the Chanhassen Brewery. So even though the title of it was Return of Perkins, we drove to the Perkins Pancake House in Chaska. So we drive all the way out to Chaska
It closed.
to go to the Perkins Pancake House, and you turn around the corner and all the lights are off, and you're like, this was not a great drive.
No, not at all.
Driving out to Chaska sucks double dollar signs.
Double dollar signs.
And it was just not I was not a fan of going out there. But anyways, it wasn't there.
Chris got paranoid because the police were following us.
Oh my God. Yeah. The whole time we were driving, we pull in the parking lot of where Perkins is, and it's not there. And it's supposed to be at Chanhassen Brewery. So I'm like, watch me pull this up, and it'll be like 30 minutes away. And I'm like, oh no. But I pulled it up, and luckily it said it was 9 minutes away. So I was like, okay, so that's not bad. So we drove. We finally get there, and it was a great party. Rodney Fitzgerald and the Prince 365 group always throw great parties.
Always.
Yeah, there's never a bad party that Rodney and them throw.
And
Eric.
actually, the food truck they had there, they had a food truck outside. and
What was
that-
it called? It was something.
Bombasta, Kombucha.
No, it was something about eggs though.
Egg.
I don't know that the spinoff was on eggs.
Comlet.
Yeah.
Omelet. Hey, it's a
Hey.
special kind of omelet for
Let's
you.
see. Get it folded over so you can't see what's on the inside. No, I don't know what.
Eat this
It
omelet
was like
that
an.
for the babies.
It was not. It was an omelet truck
It was
basically,
like Comletta or something with a K.
or omelet, or I don't know. It wasn't Cumlet. Ocean, it was not that.
No, it wasn't.
Anyways, let's move on, people. We're walking.
We're
and we're moving along.
We're moving along. We're walking.
But it was good food.
Yeah, it was really good food. So
good.
they had like steak kebabs and a bunch of really cool stuff. Anyways, it was great.
I got molested.
I haven't reported it yet.
I haven't reported.
I'm just going to keep it to myself and just do therapy later.
I'm just going to show up so they'll do it again.
If I stand in the same exact place,
Maybe they'll come back.
maybe they'll come back. And
I want my palm letter.
it's it's getting late. You can always tell when we get past a certain point. We got to get past. We got to get past day 3. Let's start with day 3, shall we? Day 3. Anyways, day 3 starts off with the amazing, obviously, Maite is what, which, you can never go wrong with Maite. Day 3.
Yeah.
And Maite always has tons of story. And, I don't have that many notes for Maite, believe it or not, because, she's really a showcase. If you're going to look at the laundry list of people that they had for panelists, you're knowing that, certain people are going to be highlights. Jill Jones is going to be a highlight. You need to be there for that because she doesn't really do a whole bunch of stuff. Maite, you need to be there because you never know what she's going to say. But the reality of it is that I didn't get as many tidbits on her as nearly as much as I did for Tom and Jill like I did previously. And I think, that is mainly because of the fact that, a lot of some of the stuff that she says, was covered in this book right here, The Most Beautiful. If you do not have this book, it's unbelievable. I really wanted to bring this book and have her sign it. But yeah, this book is unreal. It was said by many people during that night that they felt like she absolutely was Prince's soulmate for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really something about her when she came out on stage is you could feel it. And the first thing she did was, she shed a few tears because, she started crying a little bit. And, but she received so much love when she came out there and she was so sweet about it. It was really nice.
And she brought her dog with her.
And she brought her dog.
She brought her little dog. What kind of dogs are those?
Cat. Puppy cat. I mean, it was
puppy cat. No,
really
there's a specific name to this dog.
Oh, okay.
I was like terrified the whole time this dog was going to fall off and get hurt, and then there was going to be a whole thing, and it was going to be, sorry, show's over. I just something like that. Yes, I was nervous the whole time. I was just like, oh, please don't let that dog fall. Don't let the dog fall, please. Oh my God. Every time that dog shifted, I was like, I was like, hey, look, because dogs like that are so fragile and scary. It's just like, I just couldn't look away.
Very controlled, quiet dog.
Yes.
Didn't look scared. Probably was high. I don't know. But the dog was just chilling.
Yeah, the dog was just chilling. It's like, this is my spot. This is what I do.
And when she got up and put
this
it down,
is what I do.
I was like, I'm chilling. Yeah, this is me. This is me. I'm just.
Don't worry about me. I do this.
I do this.
I may shift, but that's it. That's my thing.
I say it was a Yorkie. Okay.
Was it a Yorkie? But she referred to it as something else. It wasn't.
Yeah.
She referred to it as some other name. It was like a Yorkie, but she referred to it as something else. Anyways,
Cat dog.
Cat dog. Well, let's go with cat dog for right now. They played a couple smaller than a cat though. Also played a few rare tracks from her as well, including Latino Barbie Doll, which was cool to hear, an early version of The Most Beautiful Boy in the World, and also If I Love You Tonight, which many people have heard. But some of the funny tidbits that she said that Prince flew her out to LA to get a haircut.
Right. And when she came back, he started cutting it.
Right. So the bob cut that you see, I think this is not really the bob cut, but if I recall the story correctly, she said there was that little loop in her hair, that little loop that she had in some of those pictures was because, was it on? No, it wasn't on that shot. was because of breakage, because
Right.
it was just they messed with her hair so much that it was just, And when she got back from LA, the Prince decided that he wanted her to have a V in her bob cut.
He didn't like it, so
he cut the bangs. He cut her bangs himself.
And I like the way she said it, though, because she said, well, and then, we had to have somebody come and fix that later.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm okay.
I imagine. He's not a hairdresser.
Talents, but not a hairdresser.
Yeah, it's not a hairdresser. Definitely not so. So, but the show that they played on this night that happened later on this night with NPG and Prince live on the big screen was actually Maite's very first performance with Prince. And we're going to talk about the show here in just a minute. And it was cool that she stayed and actually performed as part of this whole thing. It was really, really cool. And some of the other things she talked about Funk Night. Mm-hmm. Funk Night was when Prince would announce that it was Funk Night right before they went on stage. And essentially what that meant is that whoever did the funkiest thing on stage that night would win either $1,000, $5,000, sometimes even $10,000, depending on, I guess it's a matter of whether how generous he was being or how funky it was. Maybe it was a combination of the two. I don't know. But sometimes right before they were about to go on stage, he would say, Funk Night. And everybody like, okay, all right, well, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And she talked about the night that she won Funk Night, which I thought was really, really funny. Yeah. And I actually found a clip of the night that she won Funk Night, which is this little clip here. I might have to turn on the volume if I can here.
Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't get a. But this is actually one of the nights that she won Funk Night. I actually found a video of this.
Yeah.
Where I'll actually forward it a little bit, but this is where she won Funk Night right here. And obviously she doesn't play an instrument outside of tambourine, and she was like, how can I win Funk Night? This is how I win Funk Night right here.
And that's funny because she even said it. She said I jumped and nobody caught me. And we're like, man. And they...
Yeah, but apparently now this is the one night that she won Funk Night, but she was talking about the fact that one of the nights that she did this, she dove out, her shirt got caught on something, and she knew that, and they were pulling her back just like they were right there. They were pulling her back on stage, and as they were pulling her back on stage, she was like, no, because the shirt stayed behind, and she actually came on stage with no shirt on. I know Andre's like, play that video. I know a lot of people are like, play that video. Trust me. I tried to find the video, but it's not out there.
There's videos
and she pulled, there's videos out there. If you just go to YouPorn, what do you need this for? And so she was pulled, and she just pulled her hair over her breast because she was just like, all right, well, there's nothing I can do here. So the show must go on. So, but that's how she won Funk Night, by doing a little stage dive there. So, anyways, that was the thing. Then lastly, one of the last things they did was they played a unreleased track called Scorpio. I'd never heard this track, and this was nobody that I knew had heard this song. Even the people that I know have a huge collection, but it's a song that she does it, and she's singing it. This is not, I think Prince, there may be a guide track out there with Prince's vocals on it, because she's a Scorpio. And so it's a song about her, and she kind of talked about some of the characteristics of Scorpios, which I completely identify with, being my birthday is November 18th, so therefore I fall into the Scorpio thing, if you believe on all the astrology and all that stuff. But the main line in the song was, Scorpios always get their man. So
you're all set then, Chris. Mr. Christopher always gets his man.
Tell me something I don't know, sister. Anyways, so they played that little track of Scorpio, and that was cool. It was really, really fun to hear. I love the fact that they were. Olga says she also won Funk Night at the Europe MTV Music Awards in 1994.
Okay, cool.
So but anyways, so that's always cool. You can, whenever you win Funk Night and win yourself some big money,
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, do
Image,
what you gotta do. You gotta
All right.
get a little funky.
Yeah, so that's all the bullets that I had on Maite. Again, if you do have an opportunity, if you have not read this amazing book, please pick it up. It's the most beautiful book. It also comes in audiobook format as well. Pick it up. It's a fantastic book. There's a lot of books that talk about Prince, but this is one of those ones that really talks a lot about some things that you guys want to know that you're not going to hear anywhere else. His wife. That book right there. A lot of really cool stuff in that book. Check it out for sure. So then the next panelist was Randy St. Nicholas. She's a photographer for Prince. A lot of people are familiar with some of the stuff. I'm going to, one of the little things here, she has a brand new book out now, a photography book called My Name is Prince. I do not have that one, but I do have this one, which is 21 Nights. It is a beautiful book that is full of amazing photos of Prince and the tour from the 21 Nights in London. And it's just a lot of great. And of course, the piece de resistance with this particular book is that it has a CD that comes with the book as well. And it is a live after party from that tour. But again, it is Randy St. Nicholas, Prince, 21 Nights. It is an awesome book. And you can find it. Sometimes you can still find it at like Barnes and Noble and places like that. For some reason, it's sitting on it's always in like the clearance area. And it's not because it's a book that nobody's buying. That's not why it's there. It's there because of the fact that, once people get it, it's
there.
It's there.
It's there because it is, all right?
Yeah, it is an amazing book. It is an amazing book. I've given away books like that for prizes before, but it's fantastic. But anyways, she talked about the fact that Prince wanted to do kind of a retrospective. I'm bouncing around here on the notes. I know that. Wanted to do a retrospective book, which is what this book new one that she has out now, My Name is Prince, is. But she talked him into doing the 21 Nights one just because she felt like it was a good, she thought that was a good idea. And it was a good move. It was great. But some of the funny things that she talked about, and while I'm doing this, I do want to go ahead and show you some images that Randy had also showed the audience. And I made sure they were a little bit lower resolution so you guys can't snatch them. But here are some images that she also shared. This is a fantastic images. I also cropped some of them out too because I don't want problems. But the whole reason why I'm showing some of these images is because I want to make sure that you guys know that these fantastic images are available in her book. My Name is Prince, that is available for sale right now. And Stacy says 21 Nights from her is available right now on Amazon for $14.97, which is ridiculous.
Nice.
You couldn't even buy the CD. If that CD was for sale by itself, you couldn't buy that for $15. You can buy that entire book for $15 on Amazon right now. Stacy, thank you for that hookup for sure. Nice. So anyway, so these are some photos from her new book, My Name is Prince. This is a very, very cool, cool shot right here. But she was talking about one of the stories that she opened with that I thought was hilarious, which she talked about how Prince had called her in the middle of the night to come over to watch a video. She didn't know what the video was of, but apparently she was over her dad's house and she said, "Hey, I've got to go over to Prince's house. Do you want to come with me?" And her dad was like, "Sure, I'll come over." So she brought her dad over to Prince's house in the middle of the night, and she kind of comes in and they come downstairs and there's some individuals downstairs and she goes, "Hey, can you keep my dad busy down here? Prince wants to see me upstairs and show me a video." And so they go upstairs and she sits on the edge of the bed with Prince and Prince starts a video. And of course, if you're a woman in Prince's bedroom sitting on the edge of the bed and he's about to show you a video, you're thinking, "Oh, this night's going to be this is a long night."
Right.
But what Prince wanted to show her was a video of Maite dancing. And he said, "What do you think of what do you think of Maite?" And he says, she's very, very beautiful. And he was like, yes, she is. And he was like, "What do you think?" And she goes, "I think we're watching your next, I think you're watching your wife. She's your future wife," is what she said. And he was like, "Oh, wait a minute." He's like, "That's jailbait."
Right.
Because at the time she was underage. And they, but he was shocked to hear her say that, because I don't know, I can't remember somebody want to tell me what the age difference was at that time. If she was 17, how old was he at the time? I don't remember when Maite was born. But anyways, he was like really taken aback by it. And obviously that must have stuck with him, because eventually when she did become of age, they didn't get romantically involved. He specifically waited to get romantically involved with her until she turned 18. He waited until she turned 18 before getting romantically involved with her. That's in this book. And anyway, so he was kind of taken aback by it, but they sat and watched videos of Maite dancing. And that's when she, technically became part of the troupe, and all that happened. And then she says, all right, well, I need to get downstairs to my dad. And Prince was like, what? He goes, yeah, my dad's downstairs. And he was like, oh, I have to see this. And so he gets up with her, and they go downstairs, and he introduces himself to her dad and shakes hands with her dad. And he goes, I've invited many women over my house
In the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night. Never has anybody brought their dad with them. Never has that ever happened. And I just thought that was hilarious. I thought that was a funny story. But yeah, so the whole time they're kind of going through, and they're showcasing some of these images that are. So she's 5 years younger than we are.
So what's really cool about this is, while they're doing these images, she's got stories to tell about the image, like how they got it. What, like if you go back one to the piano, this one, she told the story how she was walking, or she was driving, and she saw this building, and Prince called her for something else, and he said, what are you doing? And she saw this building it had just recently was on fire, burned down, like it was like just happened, apparently.
Still smoldering.
And she thought, man, this would be a great picture. And when he called, she's like, I'm walking through this building, and I think this would make a great shot. And he says, I'll be there in an hour. And she took that opportunity, and she started making calls and doing whatever, and he showed up about 2 hours later, I guess it was, but he showed up, and they did the shoot there. And so those kind of stories are amazing. And she had stories behind all of those, every picture, how it came to be, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's a great shot. And this one, I think, the look on his face, if you ever see a close up of this photo, the look on his face is just amazing. It's his face is contorted in a way, and contorted may not be the right word, but it's contorted in a way that I've never seen. It's got this really distinct look to it. It's a very stark figure. And you look at the shape of his body in this thing, it's like so slender, and so it's just like, but there's something about his face that's really intriguing, because it's just, I can't really zoom in on it. And you guys just need to buy the book in order to see it close.
Right.
That's just basically what it boils down to. But yeah, it's such a fantastic shot. All these things were just amazing. But most of her appearance was going through, showcasing some of the work that was on display during the museum experience. And if you've been to Paisley Park before, the room that her display was in was where the Purple Rain room used to be. If you walk into the room, there used to be a center area that was in the middle that had the Purple Rain script, and it had the motorcycle, and it had all this stuff that was all in that center section, and it had a whole Purple Rain thing, clips playing from the Purple Rain movie on the walls. But they took all that out, and they put up all of Randy's artwork all over the room, and it was fantastically done, and it was all designed with pearls hanging everywhere. And I am so looking forward to getting this book. It's just such an incredible book. All of Randy's work is amazing. Yeah, talk about this shot.
This shot, this is amazing too, because this is him actually sleeping. This is real. It's not a staged shot.
Yeah, he was actually sleeping.
He was actually asleep, and I like the way she explained it happened. This is on the train,
and they got all the people, and they were going to do this photo shoot, and they showed up. And when they showed up, he said, "Yeah, I don't feel like doing a photo shoot. I don't want to do it." So she's got everybody. They're all there, but they're not doing a photo shoot. And he was asleep, and that was her opportunity to take a shot anyways. And I just thought,
the other part that I thought was funny about this shot is it was like, who sleeps in this?
right.
Who sleeps like this and dressed like this?
Yeah.
Dressed to the nines with your high heel shoes on. I just can't. It's against a wall with your leg hanging over two chairs. It's just like, who sleeps like this? Anyways, it's such a cool thing. But it was just going through all these amazing shots, and the photos that again that we're showing you. I think I have like one more to show you. Are basically shots from the My Name Is Prince book. During this particular part of her session, they actually brought Maite back out, and Maite and Randy were sitting side by side, and Maite was talking about these images and talking about how they created it. There's actually a whole set of images that are surround this particular restaurant scene or whatever, but it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I like this. The whole this series of pictures that they had here. The biggest thing was she's outside taking a picture of them inside, and Prince wouldn't stop talking. He's joking and making her laugh and doing all these things, and she's like, "Stop talking! I'm trying to get a picture here."
Right. There's there's sons. Some of them her laughing because he's whispering something in her ear because she has no idea what the conversations are. But there's so many dynamic things that are happening emotionally that are happening in this mix. Awesome. And it definitely is. It was a fantastic scenario. And if you want to pick up the book, Randy St. Nicholas,
do it.
Go pick it up. It's My Name Is Prince. It is on sale on Amazon. What to kind of get on Amazon. So now let's talk about the closing night for general admission, the closing live main show, which we're going to talk about for a second, which was just unfriggin' real. Which closed out the third night, which is not the final be all end all for the celebration, because the VIP folks still had a fourth day technically it was at Dakota with the Steels for a gospel brunch, but this was actually the close of the event at Paisley Park for everybody. And it was NPG playing in synchronization to Prince live on the big screen from a show that happened in 1992 at the Glam Slam Minneapolis. Right. And it is incredible. Man. So the show was just so masterfully done because, to kind of briefly explain how some of this works is that they have a live concert that is recorded in its entirety that's playing up on the big screen. And then they have a facsimile of the band that they match up as best as they possibly can live, happening on the actual stage.
Right.
And they kind of switch between some of the camera work. So sometimes they're playing some of the stuff there. But you kind of explain a little bit how the camera shots, because some of this.
What they did is, so you've got this live band, MPG, doing their thing, and then you've got Prince up there on the screen, and actually Rosie, and a lot of what Rosie was doing too. They did a really good job of drawing out everything except their voices and what they were doing, so you're hearing the band live. And some of these shots were amazing because there are solos in these concerts, but of course we're here live, so the live guys are doing it, and the transitions from video feed from old footage to new footage was really, really good. They did it was like seamless. And if you know anything about camera, I really like camera stuff. One of the things, even though in the beginning of it, the initial part, it seemed a little bit grainy, but it cleared up and everything seemed really tight. But even though you knew the more current cameras were like 4K and just clean, what they did is the color matching was spot on. So if you weren't paying attention when you were watching concert footage, and if you stayed up on the screen when they went to somebody playing live, you almost would not realize that that's different footage, that's now in front of you. It was that good. They did a really good job of that. I was blown away.
Yeah, as I mentioned, when we were talking about the launch party, when we talked about day one, I was talking with Tony, and he was telling me, he says, "Be ready, man, because it's gonna be something you're never gonna forget." And I will tell you, it was fantastic. I mean, it was just unbelievable to watch and to take it all in. Because if you've never seen Prince in concert, this is about as close as you're going to get.
Right.
Because you actually, it's like you're watching, the Prince part of the view up on the screen, and the live band they're doing as much as they possibly can to kind of reenact some of the stuff that's going on stage. Maite came out and she's doing dances, and in some cases she was actually synchronized with the video, the dances that she was doing on the stage there, which again was her very, very first performance that she ever did with Prince, was back there at the Glam Slam Minneapolis in 1992. And she was there, and it was just unreal. So you got the full live band on stage, and it's just everybody in the mix. You've got, you have the Game Boys with Kirk Johnson, Damon D, Tony Mosley. As I mentioned, Maite was dancing, and Sonny T, Levi Caesar Jr., Tommy Barbarella, who was on the, I can't remember who was on the drums in the actual video, but they had Chris Coleman playing drums live. Morris Hayes, the Minneapolis Horns were there. Not the same horn players that were on the video, but they were younger kids, but they were killing it. Minneapolis Horns. I couldn't really see everybody that was playing the horns, but I did see one of the kids look really young. He looked like he was probably early 20s at best.
He was like 8.
It wasn't 8.
It's like 8.
Liv Warfield was there singing backup. Kit Blacksher was there singing backup. These are all the people that were there live. The Steels were there on background vocals live right there. There were some people that obviously weren't there. Rosie Gaines, she's still with us. Thank God she's still with us, but she was not there. But they kept her parts intact. And, Prince's vocals, Rosie Gaines' vocals, and Rosie Gaines' keyboard parts and Prince's guitar parts were all kept from the original trackings, so that those parts, when they broke away to those specific solos and segments, it was just like everything. And what was really, really cool is that if in the music video, if Prince said Tommy Barbarella, or called him out, or say Levi, fly,
right,
or whatever it was, they switched cameras over to Levi actually playing right there on the stage. It was just the way that it was seamless. Or if he called Tommy Barbarella out for a solo, it switched over to Tommy that was playing right there live on the stage. It was just so seamlessly done.
It really was.
And the effort to put this together and make it pop and work as well as it did, I can't say it enough. It's just astounding. I mean, it was just, and it was so incredible and full of energy. And all the Game Boys were doing all their dances and all the all the moves and everything, and they were sweating because they were not. This is not the 20-year-olds or whatever they were at the time. They were, they're obviously much older, and that's a lot of stuff. But they were doing it. Some of the dances at the top of the show they were not doing for obvious reasons, because there was a lot of that whole throwing themselves on the ground and doing the sliding through the legs and all that stuff. They weren't doing all that stuff. And as you mentioned, the resolution of the video wasn't fantastic, but it was from 1992, and the lighting, I guess it was happening in the Glam Slam venue, wasn't the stage itself wasn't that fantastic.
Right.
Which I've actually seen when they did that weird play, the Odyssey play or whatever that they did. I can't remember the name of it, but when they did that weird Odyssey play, the lighting on the stage for that wasn't that great either. It was like the stage was being done for live performances, but not for, it accommodated live performances in kind of like a little bit darker of a setting, like an intimate, more intimate setting, and not really designed for recording and capturing. And
and that's the thing. If your lighting is the key, so because you can only get so much quality out of it when the lighting's really bad. At least back then is a whole different animal than the technology we have now even.
So if the lighting is not good there, then it kind of technically makes the lighting a little bit more grainy. I mean, but it wasn't bad. I mean, lots of part of it was fine. It was great. But it did, the energy of the show, the quality of the show. I mean, everybody was talking about the one scene where Prince jumped off the stage and jumped onto the bar and was dancing up and down the bar in his high heel shoes, and it was
and the edge too, like
because the bar's not dry.
right.
You know that people are spilling drinks and whatever, and he's on these, high heel shoes and doing squats and, those little red Corvette type moves on the bar in high heel shoes. It's just everybody that pointed out, that there are highlights of that show. That was the one scene that they brought up. It's just, it was. So for people that are curious about the set list that was done, and we did not intentionally not playing any clips. I did actually find some clips of this video of this concert online, but I'm not doing that. And there's a reason why I'm not doing it. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the set list opened up with Thunder, then Daddy Pop, which was very, very energetic. That's like a Game Boys song. It's just very, just like it is in the beginning. Then they went into Diamonds and Pearls. And they did make some notations that, with Diamonds and Pearls, Prince never played that song too much live as far as like an extended version of that, because that ultimately is Rosie's song. And I think that Prince is a little bit apprehensive of getting too carried away with playing too much of that song, unless it's like a snippet or, just a portion of the song. It's because he knows people want to hear it, but also it's Rosie's song. I mean, unless you got somebody like Shelby J or somebody that's going to be able and going to be able to kill it,
Right.
And in many people's eyes, for anybody to do Rosie's parts is almost sacrilege. It's it's that kind of thing. But then they did Willing and Able, Jughead, which I've always liked that song, but seeing that song live, the energy in that song is ridiculous. That was I love seeing that live. That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Then they went into Get Off, The Sacrifice of Victor, really cool version of Nothing Compares to You, Thieves in the Temple, A Sexy MF, Insatiable, which many people have denoted was, they said that was like a throwaway song. I think I've seen a review talk about that was a throwaway song on that album. It was like, okay, you can prove you wrong, because a lot of people love that song. Cream, which obviously that version of Cream was really, really fantastic. I love how they kind of just mix it up and they do different versions on different tours. 1999 sounded pretty much just like it was. Just like I don't really see too many variants on 1999. When he plays it live. And then, of course, they finished off with Baby I'm a Star, and then Push. And Push was like an extended version, which was just completely over the top. And I can't remember exactly where I love that they didn't do Purple Rain in this show.
Right.
Not that I have any problem with that song, but I always feel like, encores happen, and then you hear Purple Rain. It's just like, okay, all right. It is what it is. But yeah, it was just, I have to admit, at least they killed Jughead. I mean, this is, and Sacrifice was amazing. You're right. So Andre's saying, hologram edition is not coming. Nope, not happening. Prince was very, very animate about, did not want to be in a hologram. Do not make me a hologram. It's just fun. So I thought was very, very, when you talk about what was going on there at Paisley Park that night, barely anybody sat down for the entire concert.
Right.
It was very, very difficult. You couldn't sit down. I had to, because my back was bothering me, and I had to. But it was I didn't sit down much because it was crazy good. One of the things they noted, and again, one of the reasons why I'm not playing any clips tonight, was because of the fact that they had made a discussion about that. They're talking about, again, you guys want us to take this on the road? Yeah, and of course, everybody's like screaming, yeah. But they also said the same exact thing on the last time they did this. The last time they talked about they were, possibly going to put this on the road when they did Princeton Live on the big screen from the musicology tour. And that also did not happen. Right. And the fact of the matter is this one's really this one's a little bit larger in production, people wise. And I was talking with Tony after the show was over, after the show, and I said, and he asked me about it too personally, and said, well, what do you think? And of course I, was giving him glowing reviews, and he says, should we take this on the road? And I was like, I looked at him and I looked at the stage and I was like, that's a lot of people on that stage. Right. That's a lot of people to pay. That's a lot of people to tour with right there. I mean, I'm trying to do numbers here. You got 20 people on the stage. I don't remember. I'm not counting, but that's a lot of people performer wise to take on the stage, all of which are going to have certain expectations about the money that they want to make on this tour, because in order to pay for that, you're going to have big stadiums. Not that you couldn't do big stadiums, but the only times that they've tested this has been in Minneapolis, because they did test this Prince Live on the big screen in Minneapolis for the first one that they did like this at Target Center, which is right there in Minneapolis. They have not taken this and tried to do a road test on it, outside of Minneapolis. Minneapolis has a built-in Prince crowd. Right. And both times they've done it while a celebration is also in town. So you've already got 2,000 guaranteed people there already. So I don't know. I would love to see this on the road. Absolutely. And I mean, and
it
just
would be impressive. I mean,
absolutely. If you could pull it off, so. Sure. And I'm curious, I don't know this, but did I hear somebody say, and maybe somebody in the chat room here can tell me this. Did I hear somebody say that they had to get permission to use this Glam Slam video because Netflix temporarily owned the rights to it? That was because it was tied up in this documentary somehow. Can somebody find me some information on that? Huh. I heard somebody say, I thought I heard Funkenberry mention it too, that Netflix is involved somehow. I think somehow they have rights to it, and they had to get rights to perform this show just for the event that even though it was inside of Paisley Park, this was something that they had to do in there. I don't know. But anyways, you take this on the road, it's going to be very, very expensive, and you have to be able to guarantee that people are going to come to this outside of that Minneapolis Prince bubble. Right. Right. And I mean, let me tell you, if it does go on the road, if it does come on the road, I do yourself a favor and go see it if you didn't get an opportunity to see it in Paisley Park, because it is phenomenal.
It really was.
I can't go. I can't give any more positive reviews than I just have. It is phenomenal. Everybody did an amazing job. I mean, Tony and the Game Boys killed it. I mean, Maite was out there adding that nuance. It was just fantastic.
What I really like, the added thing that they did is whenever it was something very specifically focused on Prince, like a solo or something where they didn't have anything to do, they all would stop and turn to the screen. So they, you know what I mean? They would stop and they're watching and they're moving and they're watching, and then they would start their dances back up. They were engaging us at the same time. You know what I mean? And following the cues. So all of that was really, really well done.
It's unreal. According to Elisa said Netflix has the first right of refusal on everything. This was Glam Slam Minneapolis, by the way. But anyways, yeah. So this will actually, they're talking about wanting to take this on the road. They're actively wanting to talk about taking this on the road. If they do, fantastic. It'll be great. It's a lot of people would go to see it. I feel confident, but here's the other thing too. And we talk about this whenever we talk about shows that fall in this genre of music, when we talk about funk, R&B, and soul, neo soul, anything that kind of touches that funk portion, the marketing always sucks butt.
Right.
If you don't get the word out and you can't get You can't get the pushed out to the major newspapers and social media and TV networks. People have got to know what's coming into their town. You're going to have to spend some type of advertising budget to get the word out, because if you can't pack out a reasonably large sized venue like something that's at least the size of Paisley Park, that's around the 5,000 mark, you're going to lose money. This is not. Yeah. You can't even do it. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
It was phenomenal to watch, though.
Oh man, it was great. It was just incredible.
That's one of those where, yep, I'd watch it again. Yep, I'd watch it again and again. Yep, I'd watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was up there.
Yeah, I'm really bummed out that one of the videos that it's not going to work. So anyways, that was day 3. I wanted to go ahead and finish that up. So just to tie all this up, everybody that worked on this whole event, congratulations to Mitch and Jessica and all the upper folks there. You guys did absolutely. That was a phenomenal show
to get all their names in. But
you can't even.
You guys were amazing.
You can't even get. Yeah, it's too much. But we're gonna really quickly talk about stuff. We only got 25 minutes left in this show, which is already a long show. But we wanted to do a recap that was worthy of our Funkatopia fans. You guys know that when we do this type of stuff, we bring it, and we definitely wanted to bring it. Wanted to make a couple notations about some of the external events. Just I only want to talk about 2 really, because there were so many really cool events. Because we did briefly talk about Uptown. We talked about the Perkins events and stuff. Rodney and the 365 group also had a pajama jam at the Chanhassen Cinema. Did not make it to that. Though I was still in that quarantine phase. But did you want to talk a little bit about bunkers real quick? This wasn't in the notes, but I don't know if you wanted to bring attention to that at all.
What?
Anything to note about bunkers? It was fun. Dr. Mambo's combo. We were going to allocate it as a Funkatopia thing, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah, it was a good show out. A good showing of Funkatopia people, by the way. Man, Dr. Mambo's combo just pretty much murdered the stage. I actually got a lot of footage out there. I was doing a lot of recording. They just phenomenal. Like they're singing, the skill set was just top notch, and they held it down all night. Audience, the crowd, you guys, everybody who was there was just excited. There was no dull moment, no quiet moment, no nothing. Even when they took a break, it was like a break, so we just waited for them to come back. It doesn't matter what the DJ's doing. It's like, they're coming back, we're ready. They did 3 sets.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was great.
So, I was like 3 sets, because the second time I thought, okay, well, we're done. But then they came back on again. It's like, boom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they really did.
And again, wasn't able to make it because I regretfully quarantined myself because I wanted to make sure that you guys were all protected. The other thing, another one I wanted to talk about was definitely Jellybean Johnson's Nothing Compares to P event, which happened on Monday night, the 6th. And of course, we stayed until after midnight when it became Prince's birthday. We were like, but
the whole reason we stayed was for this.
The whole reason why we stayed those extra days was before that event, and it was unfriggin' real. That show was Nothing Compares to P, and I guess Jellybean had kind of set the precedent, and he said, here are the bands that I'm gonna work, and these are bands that he's worked with before. He worked with Martin Kember, Planet Law, Law and the Planet 12 movement, and then the Biz, wasn't it? That's the name of the last band, the Biz.
Was it the Biz? Yeah, I think it was the Biz.
I think it was the Biz.
Nobody beats the Biz.
But so that was fantastic. The night started out with Martin Kember, and I guess the prerequisite that was sent was if you play at this event, you have to do a large selection of Prince songs. Every band that plays has to do a large selection of Prince songs. Mm-hmm. So they might sprinkle in a couple of their originals, but for the most part, they were doing Prince songs. Martin Kember came and did his thing. Many of you guys have seen Martin Kember in the unit play at various other events with Alfonso Starr and do his own thing. And they just he just does this thing, and he likes, the ballads, and he does a perfect falsetto, and he's a phenomenal singer. Martin Kember always kills it. Right. But I got to tell you, and I've seen Martin Kember many times, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I wasn't really completely taken aback by Martin, because I know what to expect from Martin. It's always going to be great and quality and just amazing. But Law and the Planet 12 movement, man. I don't even know now. I'm trying to figure out if I can share this one tab here, because I don't know. No, that's not it. Just yeah. I don't. Hopefully, I'll be able to play the audio on this. Are you able to hear the audio on that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah. So, and of course, this is but Law killed it. I mean, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, he really did.
I'm trying to find but you can kind of hear some of the things that's going on with the bass recording or whatever.
I think there was an initial issue with his guitar the first time, because they were killing it, and he picked up his guitar and he started playing, and he was doing a solo, but couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear anything he was doing, but he was going in though.
Oh yeah, and when they broke out, and when he finally broke out into the solo and stuff, man, it was the most insane thing I'd seen, because I've heard Law and Planet 12 before, but they were so friggin'. I mean, this band was so friggin' good. And I'm just kind of forwarding through different things.
Yeah, they were great.
And he was singing too, so it's not just rapping.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
I mean, it was just Andre saying that you're low. I don't know if I can hear you okay.
Yeah, because you're playing the music.
Let's put the that's probably.
I'm not gonna start shouting.
So, but they are actually. I mean, they're just killing it. I mean, I was just not. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that little bit of clip of Law. But man, Law, I'd never seen him live, and I was just completely taken aback by Law, because he was so friggin' good. Now, he's been on the show before, and it was based on the tracks that he had sent us. That I talked with him, I did a show with him, and it was great. But I think one of the things that really impressed me about him was the song selection that he made for his Prince stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he picked out Live for Love. Who does Live for Love?
Plays that? Right.
Who plays Live for Love? He played Mutiny. You can kind of hear that every now and then in some of the more deeper bands, but you don't hear that a lot. Seven, most people don't even mess with Seven. And he messed with Seven. Cream, New Position, Guitar, Party Up, Sexy MF and Get Off, America, The Bird. I mean, it was just great. And then he brought out Jellybean, and they did the song that they wrote with him called She Can Get It, which many of you have heard the She Can Get It single. But it was just, all I got to say is props to Law and Planet 12 movement. It was incredible.
And his energy all the way through from beginning to end was like he was going. He was all in. So, yeah, that's how you put on a show,
Absolutely. And then Eddie M came out and played, Eddie M from saxophonist for Sheila E. But, Eddie's played with a lot of people, but he's most well known for his work with Sheila E. And then The Biz came out, and they were cool too. What I liked about The Biz was that, what I liked about The Biz was that they were more raw.
They were, but they were good. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
They were really, really fantastic. I mean, so it was just
and that was the old era too. They were doing the old era.
Yeah, so they were doing a lot of deep cuts from some of the funk stuff, and the lead singer was named The Rugged. He was playing the bass, and they had two female keyboardists that flanked him on either side.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And then as the night ended, after their set ended, he brought Jellybean out, and they just had a jam session. They just did a jam session on Stevie Wonder tracks and some other stuff, and it was definitely not rehearsed. It was a jam session. Anybody that wanted to come up could have. I heard him breaking into Superstition, and I caught myself getting up out of my chair to go up and sing, but I was sick, and I still wasn't 100%. Even though I was negative, I still wasn't 100%, and I was like, I do not want to go up and sing on somebody else's mic, and I just didn't want to do that. So it is what it is.
Yeah. But they made the call to come up and do a jam session and have anybody come up, and then it seemed like that got nixed.
Yep.
So it was kind of like, oh, what's actually happening? Because they said, yeah, come on up and whatever, and then it was like, no, we're not doing that. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
And then they jammed. So.
Well, I think, some people, I thought the Biz was really, really good. They didn't have all the same kind of choreography things that Law had planned out, but they were still good. I like that raw funk. It was because, and they knew that they were more that style. So the songs that he was playing were from the earlier Prince days, mostly from, like Lady Cab Driver and things like that. That
he did a good job with that.
Had that raw funk feel. So those are the songs that he selected were from the earlier area, and it was just great. But overall, a fantastic show, as I said. Then day 4 unveiled for the VIP folks at Dakota, where they got to listen to the Steels, and then that was the end. And then everybody kind of did their own thing. Oh, also of note too, with the Biz was a guy that I know here from Atlanta, and I've run into him a couple times. Matter of fact, last time I ran into him was at the Revolution show at the Fox Theater, not the Fox Theater, at the Tabernacle. We were standing in line to go backstage for the meet and greet, and he was standing right behind me, and he was dressed up. Some people just have that look. Like if I saw you, I'd be like, "What do you do?" It's not like you don't dress normally. It's like normal street clothes. It's like you dress to engage people and that people look at you and go, you do something. I know you do something. Right. You're somehow involved in music. And I was talking with Dwayne at that show. We were standing in line for the Revolution thing, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I used to play with a band called Maserati." I was like, "What?" And so he used to play with Brown Mark, and he played with versions of Maserati, and he does a lot of individual work with. Matter of fact, he played with Trey Songz. He plays with Trey Songz now, off and on. He has a song with Trey Songz, and
he's a beast.
And he was an amazing guitarist, and he's
guitarist.
sitting with the Biz right now. So, but yeah, he's out of Atlanta. He's out of ATL, so he's here. So we got to get him on the show at some point, or get together with him and. But it was a great event, and
he designs hats.
Yes, that's right. He's a haberdasher.
He's a haberdasher.
He doesn't have a haberdashery,
right?
But he's a haberdasher.
He's a dasher.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I think the hat he had on was one of his designs, and the one Jellybean had was, I think, either way. But so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great show, and that's essentially our celebration recap. That's everything that we had to bring you. So, I know I still owe you a video for the unboxing of this beauty. I will be unboxing it. I will be unboxing it, and we're going to be talking about each of the individual pieces. And I'll break out some gloves and make sure I don't put fingerprints on it or anything like that. And as far as future celebrations, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm definitely curious about to see what's going to happen next year, because I don't like to get too involved in the politics of everything that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know who does what, and I don't. Oh yeah, right, Sherry, you're correct. He also plays with the Purple Madness tribute band. Yeah, he does. So again, but I don't get involved too much in the politics, but I do. Again, it's just outside of my pay grade. But apparently, the family will be taking over, not the band. Prince's family will be taking over soon. We'll be taking over soon. And so we're about to see some huge changes here they're going to happen at Paisley Park.
Right.
That means, yeah.
What that means, we don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I mean, I love everybody in the family. Everybody that I've met has been great. Tyka's been great. Sharon's been great. Sharon's been on the show here before. But I don't know the intimate details of their involvement or depth of knowledge into Prince's music. I know that seems silly. It's like, it's Prince's family. How would they not know his music? But I think you'd be surprised. I do this, and I'm online weekly, and I guarantee you my wife has not watched one of these shows. You know what I mean?
Maybe half of one.
Maybe half of one. She's like, this is not for me. Click. So you just don't. You don't know.
She's been drinking.
This ain't for me. I think I'd rather shoot up. So I think, there's also there's an age gap because they're older. So I don't know what their involvement and depth of knowledge is in the music. I'm sure that they're going to hire the right people to take care of all those things, but I'm interested to see exactly what happens. Are they going to force some staffing changes? Are they going to stick with what's there now? If they think that works, what does that mean for them? Is it going to shift? It's obviously going to shift to something that's going to be monetarily beneficial to the estate and to them. What does it mean? I don't know. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this unravels. And I don't even know the date of when this is supposed to happen, but it's coming soon. If I remember correctly, it's coming in like a few months. So
what it turns into, hopefully it turns into, no matter what, we want it to turn into something that benefits Funkatopia as well. WTF.
Yeah. WTF. Welcome to Funkatopia. As soon as we know, we will tell you. We will let you know.
Welcome to Funkatopia.
Yes, and do expect, just so we know, here's a couple of things that you guys can look forward to. The first thing you can look forward to is WTF shirts. Mm-hmm. I am in the process of creating the design. We are going to make WTF Welcome to Funkatopia shirts. So it is coming. Just know that it's coming. I've already got the design in my head and everything. I'm laying it all out, so it's coming. Second, yes, I will be making an unboxing. As far as the show for next Tuesday, I don't know because that's only 5 days away. I don't know. We're getting back on schedule here, but we just gave you a 3-hour show, so cut us some slack. So give us some slack. We may skip next Tuesday and then get back on the Tuesday schedule after that.
Calm down.
We are still recovering. We are absolutely still recovering. Literally. Jeff and I started this thing where we were talking about the words that are probably the most annoying and just people say literally
all the time.
Too much.
And the word and like.
Yeah. Like. Oh, I say like all the time. Like. But literally is one of the words. Literally. Or I feel like. I feel like.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Is that what you feel? I feel like she should have gone on a date with him.
I feel like could have gone with them.
I feel like I literally could have gone with them.
Like I literally could have gone with them.
I feel like I probably could have gone to the celebration. I feel like I don't know.
Or the over-exaggeration.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing we were talking about. Yeah, that was the other thing. Everywhere. The dog peed on the floor. It's everywhere.
It's like,
is it everywhere?
Is it? It's literally
everywhere. Is it literally everywhere? Has everybody seen it?
Everybody does it. Does everybody really do it? Really?
Even that little boy in Zimbabwe, did he see it too?
Is he? Yeah.
Did he cast his eyes upon that? Is it everywhere?
Everywhere.
So those are the types of things that we were constantly correcting ourselves. It was actually it was tough for us because it's something that we do too. So we were cracked. Yeah, it was tough for you too, brother. I just didn't stop you every time. I didn't stop you every time you did it. I just said, I'm not going to draw attention to the fact that he just did that.
What made it funny is then we were doing it on purpose. Like we got to a point where we'd be around people and say, literally.
Just to make each other laugh.
Just to laugh.
Man, there's people everywhere. COVID was everywhere.
It was everywhere. It was dancing on the dance floor. It was up there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was so great that you joined us for this amazing and fun recap. We brought it just like we normally bring it, with visuals and video and everything else. We feel like that makes it more compelling because you guys are visual. Everybody's visual. I mean,
visual. And you guys are awesome. So.
Yeah, the Pornhub wouldn't exist if we weren't visual people.
What? You literally threw me off.
Erotic literature would be so much bigger if we weren't visual people.
I just look at the pictures. I don't read anything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Christopher, Jeff Paige, signing off. Thank you for tuning in to the celebration recap, and we'll see you guys in a week and a half. Give you guys a little bit of rest. Everybody's just capped out.
See you guys.
Adios. We'll see you guys.
We'll do a pajama party show.
We'll see you soon. See ya. Bye. Figure out a way to get us kicked off of something. See ya.